Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last caravan. One sec while I mute myself on the Switch. Okay, there we go. Welcome to the Last Caravan RPG. We do one-shots, mini-series, and long-running campaigns. If it's TTRPG, we pretty much do it all. My name is Caitlin Kenny, and you can find me usually at KKENNEY plays, K Kenny plays, on Twitter, Instagram, and other such places. And tonight we are playing a D&D 5e homebrewed mystery one-shot titled Death on the Dirigible with our myth crew back at it, our sleuthing group. I'm so excited to be here with them today. Before introducing tonight's cast, though, we have just a few announcements to get through. So first, our sponsor for tonight is Soul Muppet Publishing. And if you want to check out their library of games like Orbital Blues, you can follow the link posted in the chat or here. Also helps to support us and the content we make, so thank you. If you want to check out our previous streams, we have hundreds of hours of content just waiting on our YouTube channel, including the first myth mystery in 2 parts, A Night at the Haunted Museum. Check that out there if you like after this. And if you want to support us and our community by checking out our merch, you can find that at our website, lostcaravanrpg.com. So let us go around and everyone introduce themselves, tell us who you are playing tonight. And so I believe we are starting with, I think going clockwise around my screen here, we've got Heck. You're up first.
Yeah, I'm starting. That's wild. Hey, everybody. No, you're fine. You're fine. I see the overlay. We're all good. Hi, everybody. It's me, Sir Heckalot. And tonight I am playing Lenore Valise, the Ergonasi Rogue. That's all I had to do, right?
Yeah, if you could also add what Lenore might have been up to since last mystery, the last case. What is one thing Lenore might have done in this meantime?
Well, this might be a little bit of a spoiler for the first adventure if you haven't seen it. But kind of one of the big plot points towards the very end was being able to reconnect with essentially her boyfriend, Lysander. And so, yeah, she's probably been reconnecting and getting to know like what he's been doing over this couple of a year or two since he's gone missing. Essentially, so that's kind of a big thing, right? That's I think the main thing on her mind. So that's probably what she's been doing.
Amazing, thank you so much. Next, we've got Mir.
Great. Hey everybody, I'm Mir. I am playing Charlie's Lise, Daphne Angelus, also known as Lise, for tonight. And Lise is after the last adventure, she decided that seeing Burma again was a sign to go visit the old crew. So she did the rounds and visited all of her old detective crew. So.
Awesome. All right, Matt, I think you're up next.
Okay, well, howdy everybody. I am Matthew R. Dawson. You can find me at Scruffy Wanderer on the tweets and the Instas, or over on my channel, Random Rhapsody, over on YouTube or Twitch. In the year since Hera has done this. Oh, by the way, Heracles Peridot, that's who I'm playing. A investigator rogue gnome. And what he's been doing since the last adventure, well, since it seems like the house has been relatively empty lately, he did this thing that most elderly gnomes do when they're getting to the latter stages of their life and just start studying magic. So he's taken a level of wizard and knows a few spells, has been kind of puttering around with that just a bit. I'm sure some of his friends could have helped him out with that. And other than that, like hanging with his companion Rock, the the imp who he befriended last adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love Rock.
God bless you, Rock.
All right, great. I think that means Jason, you're up.
Hi, I'm Jason Fryer. You can find me on the Twitters at OtterPoet, writer, game designer, and general curmudgeon. Tonight I will be playing Dolores Ophelia Applebottom, the necromancer wizard. We pronounce that pathologist. So, and we'll basically Dolores has spent the last year having taken the foot that we collected in the last case and been building upon it to create a companion.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Yes. Very good. Great. I think that leaves you, Chell.
Unmute myself. Hello, I am Chell. I will be playing the Kinku Bard Charles Crow, and he spent the last year with his wife. They were going to a wine tasting, but then it got rained out. So,
Like they do.
yeah.
Great.
A
Incredible.
year-long
Perfect.
wine tasting. It just kept getting rained out
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
over and over and over again.
But the thing is, they got
Yes.
free wine every time. He had to give someone to his druid friend, but they got free wine every time.
Very good. All right. Then I think maybe we should drop ourselves in, shall we?
That's
Okay. Oh, actually, let me quick throw it. I don't think that Lisa's class was said.
Oh.
So if you want to.
Yeah, Lise is a elven cleric. So she is the responsible one in the party.
Yes.
She likes to think.
Very
Very
good.
like that. She would like to point out that the only reason that Dolores managed to create that companion is because Lise was not around to stop her.
That sounds right. Yeah, it seems like a fairly empty house.
Very
this
big
past
sheets.
time. All right. Well, today of all days, it is an absolutely gorgeous early evening. The birds are doing their last little bits of daytime chirp as the sun is dropping down in the sky, and Myth, magical investigation and troubleshooting heroes, is boarding a gorgeous, large yacht-sized dirigible, the Lark. They're headed to, of course, the annual detective convention, and gathering among them are a number of other detectives. You all gather onto the dirigible, and two young people, a half-human, half-elven woman with long dark hair, and a half-elven and half-orc a man with a crew cut, helping you carry things on. They're in this kind of like white uniform, taking on different trunks and suitcases, leading them to your rooms. And everyone has been asked to gather in the dining hall at the bow of the main deck of the airship. Where you will find some light refreshments and gather for the captain's speech once you all take flight, and the captain can set things on autopilot and give you all a welcome speech. So you all start to make your way there, and I would love it if you would please describe what your characters are doing as they're either, watching people move their suitcases into rooms or going straight for the bar, whatever you think your character might be doing. So I think we'll go around kind of in character order, or in the order we just went before, as we introduce what our characters are doing in the space. So yeah, if Lenore wants to start us off.
Yeah, I think she would probably be trying to just get all of any luggage that she brought with her into the room so she doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Until she goes back in there, so she can go out and about and see all the other detectives and investigators that are around. Size up the bar, see what's going on over there. probably notes that there's some bocce ball on the way over.
Yes, I think Lenore, as you're kind of doing a scan of the deck, after dropping off your things, you go to the rear end of the ship, the stern of the ship. I have terms. And find the recreation room, which involves part of it being a library, part card tables, and part bocce ball court. Except it's not really; it's more of a strip, bocce ball strip. And see that for a moment. Incredible. All right, then that would bring us to Lise. What are you up to as you're boarding this? As you're boarding the Lark?
Lise probably went and made sure that all of her luggage was properly put away in her rooms, and unpacked into the room, and then probably mainlined it for the bar and has taken a seat at the bar with her drink in order to people watch and see who else is getting on the ship and what she can figure out of them, if she knows anybody else other than her group. Or
Great. As you saddle up at the bar, the woman with the bun kind of spots you going over that way and immediately puts the suitcase down and rushes over to make whatever drink you've requested. You can tell they're doing double duty. They're kind of these two people are the main attendants of the ship, and it's a small crew.
Lise will just order something very simple and let her get back to it.
Perfect. She flashes you a look. She looks like normally a really laid-back, chill person who's being asked to rush. This is very clear. This is not her normal pace. But she gives you a look of thanks as she pours your quick drink and then heads back to grab that suitcase she dropped. All right, amazing. Thank you, Lise. That brings us to Hera, I believe.
Well, more than likely when Hera got on the ship, the first thing he did is irritated the porter who brought in the luggage for about 30 minutes or so. He had to put it just right in just the proper place, and it could not be placed under the bed. Why would you put it under the bed? That does not make sense. How can I get...
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Where do you want me to... No,
No,
here?
not right there on... Not on the bed. No, not on the bed. On the
okay.
table. Right there. Right there. It is the perfect
right.
place right next to the dresser and the wash table, and it is pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Are you good?
At which point you see just a big bat-winged imp come flying in behind him. Now, Hera is a tiny gnome. He's a short 3'2" gnome, portly, completely bald head in the shape of an egg, but a huge bristling military-style mustache. And he always wears very fine suits, probably about 3 or 4 decades out of style at the very least. And you notice that the imp behind is dressed in almost the exact same fashion, just a much tinier suit, but in the same older style fashion. And Hera's just there with his cane, kind of smacking the furniture a little bit. He's like, Rock, come over here. Now, help me real quick. We must get our clothes put away in their proper places, or they're going to get wrinkled.
Clothes not wrinkled. Clothes straight, flattened.
And just
Yes.
Rock starts going into this little mimic suitcase of your own, and starts to take out the clothes and put them on hangers for the closet.
Mr. Rock!
I need to reiterate, I would die for Rock. And I would kill him.
Yeah. I was like, I missed this. Holy shit.
Incredible. The porter looks absolutely... When Rock flies in, he's like, "Whoa! Oh, God! and then slowly starts to like shimmy along the wall until he's at the door and slips out and away before you can get another word in.
I must give you a tip, Slam.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I suppose he was very well paid and does not need the extra money.
That's right. Great. That'll bring us to Dolores.
After admonishing the porter for their lineage and questionable judgment in placing luggage, Dolores drifts into the main room with all the subtlety and charm of a rotted log falling upon an orphanage.
Wow. That's evocative.
I love it.
Very
She stands
good.
there for a moment, looking around with a mixture of contempt and confusion, settles on contempt, and makes her way to the bar.
You will find Mir there nursing a drink.
A glass of wine.
As she says, "Wine, thank you."
No one is at the bar right now, and then that same woman's head perks up from bringing in another suitcase and is like, "Oh my god!" One sec. Rushes over and pours you a glass, clearly sweating profusely because she's been having to do the work of two people since Hera has been clearly taking up one of the porter's time for quite a while. But she does pour you a glass of wine. In fact, she pours you maybe a little too much because she's just trying to do it real fast. So you got a little extra in your glass as she nods and jets.
You seem to be decidedly, how shall we say, overworked.
Yeah, just a little. This is the most. This is the part which is probably the most strenuous. I think is loading, getting bar
Dolores,
snacks.
Dolores, you should let her get back to her job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And she looks for a second, and then like turns and leaves, but gives Dolores a look for a moment. All right, that will bring us to Charles Crow.
I'd like to imagine. I like to imagine everyone else on the ship is dressed rather nicely because they're going to a convention. Maybe. I guess Dolores could be dressed. So Charles is in his usual, like, worn out raincoat and he's hunched over. And he's currently trying to explain to the other porter that no, he is not lost or like someone who wandered onto the wrong airship. As he's just like unpacked his suitcase in the middle of the hall, rooting around for his ticket.
Rooting around for his what?
Rooting around for his like ticket of passage on that ship.
Oh, I'm sure. Seriously sure it's fine.
Right here,
just
sir. Yeah.
if we can.
Part of Myth. Have you heard of Myth?
No, but I'm sure you're fine.
Alright,
So if we could just get this out of the way,
Yeah.
and then the woman starts running by with another suitcase, trips over your suitcase. Just
dear.
complete mess on the floor.
I'm so sorry.
Fuck!
He was asking me if I had my ticket or if I was lost. I just wanted to make
I
sure
didn't-
it was.
I don't want to question the guest. You're our guest. I'm sure you're not a stowaway.
Thank you.
I think
Can
we noticed pretty quick. I'm just gonna take your. Sorry, Elise. Sorry, Elise. He starts to pick up the bag and drag your bag toward your room.
Okay, we need to close. Oh God, it's falling out.
Yep, clothes are falling as he's just
And
dragging
Charles
it
Gross
along.
is like going behind and picking it up in one arm. Unlike Heracles, none of these are getting flattened. None of these are getting folded.
Very good. They eventually get to your room. He takes the suitcase and he
Mhm.
puts it on top of the little table, like he did in Hera's room after 30 minutes, and tries to straighten and make it look
It's okay.
nice.
It's okay.
Is this? I hear this is the place to put it. So I just, if you don't like it there, I can move it.
No,
but
it's okay. I mean, look.
okay,
You've helped enough. You've helped enough.
all right, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Stands looking at you.
Oh, you want a tip? Okay, let's see.
I didn't
He
say
opens up the
anything.
suitcase again and starts like rummaging through it for his coin purse.
Oh fuck!
If he
No,
stands there,
it's fine.
he'll
It's
get a
fine. It's
tip.
fine, dude. It's fine, dude. I gotta go. But thank you. You know, maybe later. I'm on the ship all trip. So yeah,
I
just
hope so. I
find
hope
me.
so. Okay, I'll see. What's your name?
Sorry, my name's Bernard.
Bernard. All right. He finds a
Yeah.
notebook and writes Bernard down.
Great. Okay. Bye. And he's going to jet down the hall. I imagine Charles, as you finish putting your room together, and the rest of you, your rooms together, if you're not already at the bar, you all gather. The ship has taken off into the air, and it is finally at its kind of sustained traveling flight height. That's correct terminology, I'm sure.
It is for airships.
Yes,
I feel
exactly.
like, what about altitude? Altitude sounds like a
That sounds
smart word. I don't know.
Yes,
Is that right?
that sounds actually more right than flight height. So
Please tell me the
great.
captain calls it flight height.
Yes.
Yes.
We're at our
Along with an
flight heights.
uh-oh.
Yes, we are at flight height. You all are up there. Everyone is gathering in the bar, and you start to see the other guests around, many of which you know, either having come across at previous detective cons, previous cases, and other things, just around town. So to kind of run through some of the faces you see gathered in this space. Hera, as you walk into the space, into the bar area, the dining hall, you see someone you haven't seen in some odd 150 years. Xavier Novell, one of your a person you know, and he comes right over to you in his he's an elven man. These boyish good looks, clearly like aging. He's got laugh lines around his eyes, tan skin, bronze hair with a bit of a flop. In these clearly expensive clothes that just are wrinkled and not cared for. Because he doesn't care. But he'll stroll right up to you. Heracles Peridot.
Ah!
My God.
Monsieur Novell! It is so lovely to see you again.
What a pleasure, my friend, after all these years. Do you remember all the glorious cases we saw? We used to be partners, Hera and I, and as he kind of motions this way, another gentleman approaches. Kind of a slouch to his shoulders. He's in this kind of like almost like dark blue lounge coat with a bit of like sparkle that's kind of pulled together like a robe and clearly has no shirt on underneath, and just like silver bracelets, silver earrings, long dark hair. Comes over. Hera, you must meet my new partner, my old partner. Hera, my old partner. This is Carm Prosper, a psychic detective. Could you imagine?
The look on Hera's face goes from very happy to see his old friend to looks at this dude. Here's the profession, at which point, like, he just, the face drops to disgust would probably be the proper term for it. Ah, so, old friend, you are teamed up with a psychic now. That is interesting, my old friend. He kind of pats him on the knee because he's like 3 feet tall.
Yes. Interesting is certainly a word. Interesting is a word. We it's a newer partnership, but this person, track record for cases, 100%. 100%. Carm kind of shrugs a little bit. I saw the look of, how might you put it, mild disgust on your face at the mention of my profession. That's all right. He'll extend a hand to you. I get that often.
Yeah, Hera kind
I
of
don't take it.
takes one or two fingers. He's got like these tiny little hands, and just kind of shakes them a little bit. And he's, well, you know, I would expect nothing less from somebody who can read the minds of individuals. That must
Oh.
make your job very easy.
I assure you, I don't claim to read the minds of particular people. I simply have a good intuition and sense. I tend to know just by looking at people and having people look at me their deepest, darkest secrets and the essence of their soul. And where you're at, you're not quite at the right height for this. But you can see the way that his chest is exposed, he is a water genasi with this kind of darker to lighter skin. And you can kind of catch just like the bare glimpse of maybe your like the top of your head reflected in his like exposed chest.
Yeah.
It's a very strange effect.
I can. I got nothing. I honestly have nothing for this. Nouvelle, I think you have a marvelous partner. Is that the correct term?
Yes, well, I think so. If you would call us partners back in the day, as we were, you know,
You were a very excellent traveling companion and a very good friend. I enjoyed our trips together.
Yes, yes, I enjoyed them too. Um, I think, I think we should get drunk at the bar later. I think there are so many things to catch up about. I'm just delighted to see you.
Indeed, Nouvelle. Indeed, it is so lovely to see you again. We must have the drink. We must have the cognac here soon.
Yes, cognac. I know how much you like your cognac. Yes, yes. All right.
I do. Indeed. Well, lovely to see you. I am sure we'll catch up soon.
Yes, yes, most definitely we will. And he strolls off with Carm, who kind of gives you like one last curious look and then departs. We'll flash over to Lenore. Where do you think you are in the dining hall space in this moment?
I mean, if everyone's kind of like settled down at this point, she's probably made her way over to the bar. Probably also
Mhm.
going to get a glass of wine. Definitely her kind of drink. So
Great. So you and Lise and Dolores at the bar. Coming over, there's and kind of chatting with each other. There's a gentleman with like really light strawberry blonde hair that's just like balding, like mostly in the back and stuff like that. A very plain, like khakis gray polo plain, just kind of shuffling over, and then with him a short goblin, kind of sage colored, with one long ear, kind of bunny esque, that's draping over, and one kind of crumpled ear, and has these like little goggly type things with extra lenses stuck up on the head. And they're talking as they come up to the bar too.
Well, I just think that if we implemented more technology into the detective work that we do, things would be simpler. We wouldn't have to rely as much on the purely arcane.
I don't rely so much on the one second. I'm going to. Can I have a beer? Just a pale ale. Just nope. You know what? Just a pilsner. Um, he kind of straightens up the glasses on his nose. Oh, Lise, is that is that you? What a
Yes,
pleasure.
yes. It is lovely to see you. Remind me your name again. It's been an
Oh,
age.
yes, sorry. It's John.
Oh, right,
Um,
John. John.
yeah,
Yes, the
that's
cult. The cult case, wasn't it?
y-
Yes.
yes,
I
yep.
I hear you specializing in cults now. Yes?
Oh, it's been some time in cults, but I say it's fruitful. It's a good career. There are a lot of cults, if you believe that. A lot of
I
cults.
do. I do.
Mhm.
I'm glad you're on the case, John.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Sorry, not to be rude. This is Kabu. If you know Kabu, Lenore, you might notice this goblin kind of looking over at you. Oh, Lenore, I should have expected to see you here, but I just am never sure who goes to these things every year. So, um, uh, cool that you're here.
It's good to see you again.
Oh, very good. But do you still have? I feel like it was ages ago, but did I make that goggle set for you? It was. You probably don't remember. It was a very long time ago. Maybe it wasn't you. I'm sorry. I get people mixed up a lot. But if you want me to make you something, I am on commission right now, and many slots open. So just floating it out there.
I mean, that is good to know, but I did keep the prototype and probably take out like an original, like it probably looks like so shoddy. It's like made out of like, very like beginner type material. But yeah, Lenore probably
Uh,
kept it.
That's a
Like,
Cabo original. Incredible. That's worth a lot on the market, I'm sure. Um yeah.
I mean, yes, good to know. Um, but it's definitely helped with a couple of cases, even though it's a how do you say a little dated.
Oh, yeah. Well, that happens with time. Um I think I need a drink. I, he's gonna like crawl up onto a seat. Can I get a double scotch, please? Um John is just kind of looking over at you, Dolores. Sorry, you look a little familiar, but I'm not catching a name. I feel like I'm usually good with faces and names. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Dolores,
Hello.
I think you may have muted your voice. She does this sometimes. She's
How's
rather
that?
shy.
Sorry.
Oh
Yes,
yes,
yes, we can hear you
sorry.
now.
My apologies. I didn't actually say my name because I wasn't actually paying attention to you.
Oh, oh, are you paying attention now?
Yes, I'm aware of your existence.
Great. My name is John, and he'll extend his hand. I deal mostly in cults, but
I look at it
I
for a moment.
Dolores, we've been working on these manners. It's
Oh,
called a
yes.
handshake.
My apologies. I take the hand and squeeze it.
it's a firm handshake. It's very firm. Sorry if my palms are sweaty.
Oh, that's perfectly all right.
Right. He'll like take his hand and like wipe his palms on his khakis. Um. Well, it's a, it's a real pleasure. I
Is
hope we
it?
get to. Yes, yes. I
Dolores, it's a figure of speech. It's polite. You should
Oh,
agree.
this is that small talk you keep referring
Yes,
to.
yes. John, don't mind her. We're still working on socializing her properly into
Socializing.
polite
You make me
society.
sound like I'm a dog.
Not a dog,
like
just
like
not social.
like that. Oh, it was that case, the case that Lisa and I worked on. They weren't dogs per se, they were mermaids, or wanted to be mermaids
Yes,
that were
yes.
dog-like aspect. It was a very funny cold case. Very funny.
It was very fascinating, yes. I'll have to tell you the details later. It's
From
quite
how
an entertaining case.
Yes, from how uncomfortable Lise appears at this moment, I'm quite sure that it'd be a very interesting discussion.
Yes, it
Yes.
was fascinating. What a
Yes, in
what a
fact,
strange case.
and John starts to immediately go into it, and with that, as John starts digging deep into the minutia of this case, we'll go over to Charles. Where are you fixing up in this dining hall? It's kind of their main dining seats areas. There's the bar off to one side, and then there's kind of the table that has these like little appetizers and things set up.
All right, I think Charles it has like a seat near one of the windows so he can look out, but he's currently standing up because he went to get like just a plate full of shrimp. And now he's just like standing up while he's like eating the shrimp with like a little fork, just looking out the windows.
When you when you are at the table getting the shrimp, when you start eating it, you suddenly feel something grab at your ankles.
Oh god. Um
Oh, did I get you?
And you see like this little head poke out, little human girl with brown hair that's like in a little bob.
Did I scare you?
yeah, can I he starts like picking the shrimp off the floor again with the fork and eating them.
My dad says you're not supposed to do that.
I have a good constitution, little girl. You did scare me. What's your name, if I might ask?
My name's Margaret Monstera.
Margaret, it's good to meet you. I'm
It's
Charles
good to
Crow.
meet you. Charles Crow. Charles Crow. Margaret Monstera. Alliteration.
No alliteration like alliteration.
That's a good one. She like pulls out a notebook and starts to write it down.
I'm a detective. Are you a detective too?
I am.
That's great. What kind of cases do you solve? I'm specifically a child detective. I solve cases that involve minors.
Oh, I don't think I've solved any cases that involve minors. I mainly do murder and rich people committing crimes. I have some friends I solve cases with on occasion, but it's mainly murders.
Murders. Rich people committing crimes.
Hmm?
Is that the technical name for that one? I know
Techno-
murder's homicide.
Homicide, yes. The technical name is not polite to say around children.
Okay. But what if I wasn't a child? What would you say?
Well, you'll have to wait till you're not a child, won't you?
Mrs. Marbles?
And you see at this other table, this woman sitting, this elderly dwarven woman sitting down, eating some shrimp as well. Looks over. Yes, my dear. She like gets up and starts to shuffle over to you.
Yes, what is it, Margaret? What do you need, Maggie? I need you.
She's gonna kind of get close to her and whisper into her ear. And then Mrs. Marbles goes,
What is the technical name for rich person committing crimes?
I'm sorry. And he is going to cast some magic using message. Motherfuckers trying to skate uphill when they don't need to.
I see. I see. What is it? Tell me.
I will have to tell you when you're older. She like pats her on the head. But she gives you a look and she goes, Hello, dear. My name is Mrs. Marbles. I am a citizen detective. Pleasure to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. My name is Charles Crow. I haven't worked with you before, have I?
I think possibly in the past. I work on a lot of cases typically alone because detectives don't like to work with me as I'm a citizen detective and don't have a technical license. But I do tend to work on a lot of cases alongside different detectives. In fact, I see one over there. She points at Hera. I've worked alongside Hera a couple of times, though I think he might think of me as a little dotty old lady. But I assure you, I have a very good case rate.
Look, you look like someone who knows what she's doing.
Oh, why, thank you. Yes, I have been at this for quite some time. How about you? Have you been doing this for some time as well?
Oh yes, on and off as you get older. But yes, I've been doing this for quite a while.
Great, great. We love that here. You hear a voice kind of shouting across the dining hall, Margaret! Margaret and Monstera! And a man comes over, human man, kind of taller, build, round stomach, just like kind of a dad bod. And he comes over and he's like, Maggie, what I tell you, I wanted you to put your things in your room, get settled in there, and you don't need to be out here until dinner time, okay? Mrs. Marbles, pleasure, Megriff. Pleasure to see you. Don't worry, Maggie and I were just having a chat with Detective Crow. Good to meet you. I'm Megriff Monstera. Extends a hand.
He hands him a shrimp. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Monster. Again, off
Great.
the floor. He's still been this entire conversation.
He takes it and he eats it, and you see Maggie snicker. Yeah, sorry, I just I had to bring my kid along. I just don't, she likes to ask a lot of questions about this stuff, but I try to keep it a little separate, house and state. What's the term? Anyway, yeah, I just gosh, I'm just a little sweaty. The flights make me nervous. Anyway, good to meet you. Thanks for the shrimp. Maggie, let's go. And he's gonna start to usher Maggie away, and she'll like kind of turn around and wink at you and scribble in her notebook as she's going.
He'll just put a hand up like a passive wave as she leaves.
And Mrs. Marbles is standing next to you.
They're a good family. A good family. They
Maggie could be quite the detective when she grows up.
well,
I'm
yes,
sure she's quite the detective now, but
She is. She's on the sly, though. Her father doesn't want her to be a detective, too, you see.
oh, he's a detective, you say?
He is. He deals in monsters. But yes, it's quite tragic, actually. Maggie lost her mother recently, at a heart attack. But, so very young and very surprising. But her mother was the advocate for the detective work, and since then her father's been a little closed on it. So if she comes doing detective things with you, just if you see her dad, pretend you're doing anything else.
I'm good at pretending I'm doing anything else.
Yes,
I just hope
very
she doesn't
good.
I just hope she doesn't realize that there are more humanoid monsters than what normal is.
I'm sure if she hasn't learned that yet, she will soon.
That's ominous.
Nah, not at all. I'm gonna go get a glass of wine. Do you want a drink?
Oh, I have one at my table. I just was busy eating shrimp over here.
Well, enjoy your shrimp, Mr. Crow, Detective Crow.
Detective Marbles.
She looks like she takes a moment, and there might be the slightest bit of tears in the corner of her eyes as she looks at you. She just gives you a nod and shuffles back to her table where she takes a seat. And as that happens, you finally hear a kind of ding, ding, ding near the door that leads into one of the doors that leads into the dining hall from off the side of the ship. As the captain has come down from the deck, and this is Captain Philomena Fritz. She is a tabaxi, a kind of calico tabaxi in like captain's uniform and everything, but open collar, like a little loosey-goosey. And she comes down. Followed next to her is a taller orc person, kind of buff, kind of ripped, and they come down, and Captain Philomena claps her hands. Welcome to the Lark. Pleasure to have you all on board. This is my vessel. It's a good one. We are going to be on a trip. The trip should take something to about 18 hours or so. Between 18 and 20, we'll see with the winds. I'm your captain. Did I say that? I don't know that I did, but if I didn't, here it is. I'm the captain. My name is Philomena Fritz. Did I say that? Wow, I'm sorry. I'm having a bit of a brain fog day. Don't worry. The ship's mostly on autopilot, so I don't need to know all the things all at once. Greggy, I feel like she's like turning to the person next to her. I feel like I might be going off. If I'm going off the rails, you just tell me. Okay. All right. Everyone, welcome to the Lark. This is clearly the dining hall. There's a bar. You're going to have your meals here in the 18 to 20 hours. We're going to have dinner in about an hour or so. You can float around, check out the recreation hall, all that jazz in the next hour or so. Get settled in your rooms, do the whole thing. Couple rules. Don't go off the ship. Nobody wants that. It's not life preserver things that you can put on up here. We don't got anything like that, so don't go jumping off the side of the ship. Greggy, what else?
Lifeboats.
Oh, yeah, there are 2 lifeboats on each side, the port and the starboard side of the ship. They're on this outside. They're magically operated. They've got a crystal in them that help them hover and float down to the ground. They're pretty simple to operate, kind of intuitive. We shouldn't need to use them, but if we do, that's where they are. They should hold 10 people each, which means we got enough for all of us on board. No one's gonna have to kill anybody. It's great. Okay, Greggy, what else? Greggy's like, down below. Oh, right. So, your rooms are here. You clearly know that. You put your stuff in them. You can access them through the dining hall doors on either side and through the rec doors on either side. What else? Oh, the downstairs. So, downstairs, largely off limits. That's the quarters for myself, my first mate, Greggy, and for the other staff, if you've met them, Elise and Bernard, who are running around here. That's our team for this 18-hour voyage. So let's hope none. We're all. I don't know what I'm saying. Greggy, what am I? Okay, right. The holding area. The holding area is off limits. That's an area downstairs where we put cargo, and just things can shift around in flight. So we're gonna stay clear of there. There's nothing up top but the driver's seat. That's for me, so you don't need to go up there either. And I think that's it. If you want to rent out the bocce ball, you do that. You get the balls at the bar. You take them down over there. It's really easy. I don't know. What else? Anything else? No, I think that's good. You just want to close it out? Close it out? What do you mean close it out? Just say something. Right. Okay, that's it. That's the speech. You're gonna have dinner in an hour. Breakfast will be tomorrow morning, and we should be there by lunch. Enjoy the con. All right. Philomena starts to walk out. Greggy stays behind, and ladies and gentlemen, people of this flight, we just want to thank you so much for being on board today. Our crew is here to serve you, so don't be afraid to ask for help from myself or Elise or Bernard. We'd be happy to help you with anything you might need. We hope you have a pleasant flight. Thank you so much for flying with us here at the Lark. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
May you remind us where the lifeboats are, because I have a feeling that we might be using them in quite short order after that captain's Oh,
Oh no. Captain Philomena just likes to joke. We are totally safe. Captain Philomena has flown with the Lark on countless voyages. In fact, I'm newer to the Lark, but I feel like I have a really good grasp of the ship. If you go out on either the port or starboard sides, about halfway down the ship, there will be the lifeboats attached to the outsides of the railing. So you can just pull that over, activate the crystal that will allow for the flotation to happen, and then it should hover up and over and allow you a slow descent, something akin to if anyone's familiar, magic users familiar with the Featherfall spell, very similar effect. So it'll be a nice coast down, kind of like you're a leaf on the wind, which is, yes, yeah. What can I?
This isn't a question for the character. This is a question for the DM. While watching that whole thing, how drunk did Hera think that captain was?
Roll me an insight check. First roll of the night.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
Lise is just feeling like Greggy is a kindred spirit.
Oof.
That would be a 24.
Woohoo! With a 24. I mean, looking at the things, there was no slurred speech. Clearly seemed like she didn't give too much of a fuck about this portion of it, but you don't think she's drunk. It's more of the attitude.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
more of that laissez-faire attitude. Not a people person, not a big talker.
I imagine Hera's just in the corner in some big overstuffed chair. He's got the tea at this point, and he was just watching this whole thing like, how drunk is this person?
Yes. Yeah, so if anyone else ends up having any questions, we will not need the lifeboats on this journey. It's only an 18-hour trip. You'll have a nice sleep throughout. The beds are very comfortable. Yes. Great. Enjoy. And they'll kind of like duck out the door and start to go up to the captain's deck. Which means that the next hour you basically have as this kind of free time to mingle with whoever you would like around the area.
Mingle?
I believe, yeah. If you so choose, dinner doesn't start for another hour. You can go check out the rec area if you'd like. You could gather as a group and chat. The time is yours for the moment. I believe, just wanting to check here. Okay, that we have met all of our NPCs. Yes. Yes, we have.
Well, 11.
Lise would like to rent out the bocce balls and see if any of her crew would like to go play bocce ball with her.
Sure.
It seems like a joyful time.
Sure. It's always good to catch up.
Yes.
Great.
Been a minute. Is anybody else interested in bocce ball?
I don't know how to play, but if you tell me, I could
I can
get a
teach you. It's
hang
all
of
right.
it.
what?
I like to play bocce ball. John kind of like pulls up his pants a little bit, kind of does a little squat stretches. I'm not the most active person, but bocce ball is one I can do.
All right, John, you may join us.
Great.
Onward!
All right.
Head on down
So, so who else going bocce ball? We got Lise. We got Charles.
And
Dolores,
John.
were you going to?
Are you kidding? That's a game.
It's a game. Dolores would never play a game. Great. Lise, Charles, and John are heading to go play bocce ball So you can rent those balls out. You get them from Elise, who looks trying to look a little less harried. She smells like smoke. Probably went out and smoked a cigarette to chill a bit. But she gives you an odd lease and gives you the balls, and you're free to go over and play if you want. So you head over. As you go through, just for those watching too, do you go through the starboard side or the port side from the dining hall to get to the rec area?
Let's go starboard.
Great. So the starboard side, the first room you're going to pass by is Dolores's room. The second is Hera's room. The third, you're not sure yet. The fourth, you're not sure yet. Actually, the rest of the rooms you're not sure. So on this side, you've got Dolores and Hera, but there are 4 other rooms down this hall. And then the door to the rec area. And you enter, and you're the first to come into this area, so it's free for you to explore.
Cool.
I'll go maybe not first, and I'll watch to see what happens, I guess. With the ball, with the game.
Yeah. Oh, Lise is a master of almost of anything she tries, so.
Yeah, Lise will get things set up, and we'll explain the rules. And
great. And so the rules for this, we'll play one round, and then we'll visit with the other characters. I have not played this game before, so we're gonna find out if these mechanics work. It's a one round bocce ball of sorts. So first we'll roll initiative, or actually, do we have an order of what people want to go in? I think John wants to go last. So Lise, Charles.
Lise will go first. Yeah.
Okay, Lise, Charles, John. And so you're going to roll. I'm going to roll a d20, and that's going to be that little ball that goes out first.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty!
Kitty!
It's a baby.
Kitty! What a baby!
Oh yeah, my big old kitty.
What a baby!
Okay.
The cat tax has been paid.
Yes.
Oh,
Good. So 17 is where the ball lands. So the idea for this rule set is the person closest to 17 with their D20 roll will have gotten their ball the closest to the little ball that's out there. So Lise, you're up first.
That is a 15.
All right, Lise got close. Wow, Lise, you, and he points to you, Charles. You weren't wrong about Lise being very, very good at.
Oh yeah. It's hard to beat her at anything.
I've had a lot of time to practice, darlings.
Yes, well, I this will be my first practice. But please, go ahead. And kind of steps out of the way for you, Charles, to throw your ball.
All right. I think Charles is just gonna give it a nice, clean throw this time. Oh, that's a natural 20. So.
Ah, nice.
It's
all right. Little overshot, but good effort. Good effort. And I guess I'll just throw this. You know, do you know the case of the ball throwing cult? They threw all kinds of balls. There were many balls that they had, and they kept on in their warehouse. Oh, that! And he tosses the ball. It was a 16.
Oh, damn!
You know, beginner's luck. I just, I'm sure that's exactly what that was.
Darling, you won fair and square this round. It's all good.
Bocce ball ringer right there.
John, best at
That's some
bocce
skill.
ball. Well, thank you. You know, I am trying to expand my horizon. I've been in cults for so long that, you know, it's a good gig, but, you know, maybe someday I would leave it. Sometimes I get bored with things and I decide to shift focus, but usually it takes a couple, like 10 years or so, and then I get bored with the thing and then I decide to move on. And he continues to drone on this way as as you go, and we'll go pop back to the bar room and check in on Hera. What are you up to in this intervening time?
Now that Hera has had a warm cup of tea and maybe a couple biscuits, he is thinking about taking a walk around the ship and doing a bit of exploring.
Right. Which side are you wanting to approach? The as you exit the dining hall, to the starboard side or to the port side? Your room is on the starboard side.
Then I would probably check out the port side.
Great. You start to go to the port side. You might know your fellow myth members, Crow, Lise, and Lenore, have those first set of rooms there. And then there are 3 other rooms on the side of the deck, and at the end, closer to the stern, you will find the lifeboat hanging off the edge, just like Reggie described. And then the door to the entertainment area. And there is one other door that seems to lead into the lower deck.
These places always seem so interesting to me. Probably at first I would go and break into Charles's room and fold everything and put it away quite nicely, just so, because I know my friend and he never puts things away properly. So that probably took a little bit of time. But after that, he would kind of just go moving on, and he'd say to himself, you know, it seems that the downstairs area is quite interesting. I think I might want to go and take a look. He says this, and behind you hear that of an invisible, an invisible imp there.
Adventure.
So you hear the whisper on the air.
Yes, come on, my little friend. Bon, let's go and check out the downstairs.
Okay.
And so you've got a door in front of you. You try it.
Mm-hmm.
It is locked.
This is the one that they said, is there like a no admittance sign or anything like that?
Yes, there is. Employees only, no admittance.
Just gonna check down the hallway, see if anybody's coming.
You don't see anyone on that look, but roll me a perception check.
Okay. 27.
27. You don't see anyone down the hall, but you do see that a room, so the door to the downstairs is like at the far end of the hall, close to the rec center and these last set of rooms. You see 2 rooms from the stern side. The door is slightly cracked open.
That is very interesting. I do not think any of these doors should be open. Come on, Rock, let's go check this out.
Okay.
You go over. It is like the door to somebody else's room. Do you push it open?
Well, I'm being very sneaky and stealthy because I'm such a little gnome that he just kind of creeps along and peeks a head in.
Great. I think as you peek ahead in, it's not going to. Go ahead and roll me. It's dark inside, and as you peek your head in, this is the cursory glance, and you can roll for investigation to do a deeper look or perception to like general scan of the room. But it's dark, and there are just like a lot of draped clothes and things like that. Very like flowy garments that are put around. There are different necklaces with different charms and things like that, and bangles with different charms that are kind of placed around the room. There's like this little bundle of, as you kind of poke your head in, it's above you. There's this bundle of like some kind of like grass or flowers or something that's tied up and hanging from the doorway ceiling. But it's otherwise dark and seems empty. Do you want to roll looking for a particular thing?
Yeah, I'd like to use a bonus action to use my Eye for Detail feature, which allows me to make a perception check to spot hidden creature or object, and see if there's anything in there that's, unique and interesting. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah, great. So you use that Eye for Detail. Is it a particular role, or is it just the ability?
It's a perception check to do what I'm doing right here.
Great.
And
Roll me a perception check.
I got an 18.
18. You start to look around, and you see all this kind of drapery. You start to look at the finer details, and it seems like the way these things are placed, like some of them seem like garments that are just kind of haphazardly thrown around, but others seem like they were placed, like especially the jewelry with charms and things, placed in very particular areas. You've seen this maybe on a case before where there was like kind of superstition and there's like a cleansing of spirits and dark energy. That's what this is reminiscent of as you look in. And with that 18, you see the tiniest shift in the dark in the corner of the room. Hello, Hera. A pleasure to have you creep into my room. And you kind of see that dark liquid form kind of come out of the drapery in this chair in the corner.
Is it the psychic?
It is the psychic. I knew you'd come.
He sighs very deeply. This is not as interesting as I hoped it would be. I do apologize. I did not want to intrude on how you say lover's nest.
Interesting. I don't know that I would call it that. But I do want to pull you aside. I want to tell you that as a partner of Xavier's, as well as you have been in the past, he can be a very difficult man to work with. Tell me, how did you... I see something in your past that maybe severed something between you. Am I wrong?
Severed? I'm sorry. This common language is not my first one. I'm having a hard time understanding. Tell me.
He reaches out and puts his hand on your head.
Please do not touch my head. I do not know where your hand has been.
I feel this deeply, Hera. I feel this deeply. There is a rift between the two of you. There's a rift between the two of you. And he wishes... I cannot tell. I cannot tell if it is to sunder it completely or to mend it.
You have met the late Mrs. Novell, haven't you?
It's very brief passing, yes, sir.
His mother always doted on him far too much. Always with the wild tales. I'm sure when you were first introduced to her, you saw a very lovely, refined woman, but she is of the gossip. The gossip, so much gossip. I understand these, you do not have to do this show with me.
There is a powerful wave. No, one moment. You let him go. You let him go.
Well, I mean, one must go to one's mother when one's mother pays the bills. It is, how you say, a son's dilemma. Does one
Fix.
be on one's own and away from the how you say apron strings? Or was one sit in the lap of comfort? He's calling Novella Mama's boy, in case you haven't
Yes.
picked this whole thing up. Yeah.
Yes. He has gained much from his family. He continues to use it. He will continue to use it. He is sharp like a knife. Be wary, Hera. Heracles Peridot. Be wary. And he'll kind of lean back in his seat and just wait for you to leave.
Hera actually stands there for a little while, just kind of looking at this whole scene. Eventually shakes his head. I am proud that Xavier has found a partner who seems to be so concerned. You two make a lovely partnership. Yes. Good day.
Good day. So you head out into the hall to go down the route of checking out this door.
After closing the door behind him.
Great. You fully shut it. As far as you can tell, no other doors are open. You might roll me an insight check quick.
Okay. Love that we're choosing my best stats. 16.
16. I think, judging by the size, space difference in the doorways, and knowing that Karm is in this particular room, you might get the feeling that Xavier's room is also next door. Just information for you to log for yourself in the larger room, because Xavier.
Sorry.
Yes.
No.
Go for it.
So we got Charles, then Lise, then Lenore, then Xavier, then Karm. Is that the order of rooms there?
So, first three were right. There's one room between Lenore and Karm's room, and then
Gotcha.
Xavier's is the one closest to the entertainment room and the door that goes down.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I wish them both the very best of happiness. Come on, Brock. Let's go check this out.
Okay. Be wary.
He'll follow after you, invisible. You're just hearing this "be wary" whisper behind you. All right. You want to quick try the door? It is obviously locked. I think you tried it before.
Yeah. Sleight of hand check.
With if
22.
you're proficient in thieves' tools, great. With a 22, you feel the wiggle. You're not quite sure at first, and then it clicks. You have access.
One more glance to make sure the coast is clear.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
17 this time.
17. Yeah, it seems clear. All the doors are shut. No one's down the hallway. And there's kind of the open windowed out to the outside of the ship. You don't see anyone sitting around the outside either or standing there. So you seem all clear.
Okay. I'm making a way downtown.
Okay. And as you start to descend, the lights kind of flare up as you go, but it's otherwise dark. You come into a lower compartment area. To your right, basically what would be underneath the entertainment rec area, seem to be the staff quarters. There are 3 doors for 3 different rooms down in that space. And then to your left, as you go down here, is a door that reads cargo. I can't hear you. I don't know if anyone else is.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Oh, there.
I was muted. Are there any doors that are open?
One of the staff doors seems to be kind of just left ajar, but the other two are closed, and the cargo door is closed.
Okay. Head over to the door that's open first to get a peek in there.
Great. It's the first room on the right. And as you open the door, it's a very simple room that just has a small bunk. It's actually a double bunk in case they have extra people working. There seem to be chef's whites like in this area, which you will remark is like, or you will, you'll note is the only person you have not met that you imagine might be on board this ship, is the chef. There's what was it? Very basic things, just clothes, toiletries, small items, and things like that. Do you want to do a further investigation of the room?
He was more making sure that there's nobody in it before moving on.
Great.
He's kind of just getting a lay of the land at this point, so he would go over, check the next door, see if it's locked or unlocked before heading to the cargo area.
Both the other doors are locked.
Okay. Cargo area.
All right. The cargo area is locked also. It seems to be a bigger lock and bolt. Like, this is a different kind of key than the others might be.
Does it look like secure? Like,
More secure than the other doors you've tried. It's like a 2-key situation, bigger bolt on one side and a smaller bolt on the beneath.
He's going to leave that alone for now. He's not like looking to go through everyone's crap. He's just more trying to
checking it out.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. He would be more likely to go into the other room and start cleaning it.
I will point out that that's technically going through everyone's crap.
Technicalities.
Yeah, just in a nicer way, nicer intent,
Yes,
I
just
guess.
nicer intent. But yes, that's probably what he would be doing, is going around cleaning up everybody's room, because he's just that freaking OCD.
More polite.
Hera,
roll-
the cleaning
roll-
fairy.
Yes, Hera, roll me a perception check before you leave this area.
Absolutely. 23.
A 23. As you're by the cargo door, kind of assessing that lock and just like generally looking around to see, what other things might be in the space, you start to turn and go back up the stairs. Just the tiniest hint of a sound, of a kind of growling. It's very faint, like through a thick door, but there's some kind of animalistic sound you hear for a second.
Do you hear that?
I'll roll for rock.
No!
I did. I did, in fact.
What is it?
It sounds like an animal. Something, growling, perhaps.
Me?
No, not you. You do not growl as so much as you, grumble and flap.
Yeah. That's me.
Very good. And he kind of pats the head, the invisible head. He knows exactly where it is. Just pat, pat, pat.
And with that, as you do you start to make your way back up?
No. Now my curiosity's piqued.
Oh, well, I think we leave curiosity piqued, and maybe go on a quick break. Growl at the door. All right, thank you all. We'll break for a bit, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Hello. All right. Welcome back. We are going to. We just left Hera and Rock at the door of this cargo part of the hall, and we're going to zoom upward back to wherever Lenore and Dolores are. You together? Are you separate? We'll visit in with the two of you.
Oh, that depends. Do you want to play some cards?
I would be delighted. Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
Great.
We'll go to the card
So
table.
you do play games.
This is not the physical ones.
Basketball.
Yes.
Do you? There
This is
are
a
couple
respectable game. I understand that you have to lower yourself to do these sports.
Great. So there are two card tables. There's one that's empty, and there's one where they're not playing yet, but Xavier is kind of like sitting back in a chair and is chatting it up with Migriff and Kabu, who both seem to be like really invested in whatever his conversation is, and he's clearly just like arms flailing in whatever story he's telling. Would either of you like to roll an insight check as you just kind of see the two tables and see this?
Sure. Why not?
Great.
12.
With Dolores, what'd you get?
22.
Yeah, that tracks.
Lenore, I think, you're getting the read on this of like the cocky, like, no rich dude who's clearly just fawning, like, giving an audience whatever spiel that he wants. Dolores, in kind of like, you are not the best in your social interactions. You know this about yourself, but you are very
Excuse
good
me,
at watching that.
I am the height of human understanding.
That's right. Well, I will say, I think you have in your time gathered quite, a good amount of human understanding and body language in particular. You usually work with dead bodies, but you pay attention a lot to the live bodies and their positioning. And you can tell
For the
with
future.
the way
Yes.
Exactly. For when they're clearly going to be dead. But you can see the two Migriff, again, this kind of taller human guy, and Kabu, the little goblin tinkerer, both leaning really like in and clearly like, to you, their body position reads desperation almost, as if they're trying to like really get into the good graces of this wealthier person. And you have seen this a lot in when you have been around wealthier folks, this kind of like almost trying to get in good graces to get money. That's the vibe that you're getting. These people really want this person's cash.
Have you noticed our companion? I'll show. I'm not even subtle. I just point.
You're pointing at Xavier?
Yeah, Xavier.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Yes.
Do you want to come on over?
Oh, well, I was just about to say that your ingratiating conversation was starting to interfere with ours, but yes.
I don't know half of what you said. I'm sorry. Come, please join us. Do you play cards? Well, you please take a seat. We'll he kind of looks to the other two. You two are in for an Nantia. They both look very nervous about putting money down on the table. But also don't want to refuse. So they kind of nervously sit down. Do the two of you join them?
Sure.
A friendly bet. Yeah.
Perfect. Sit. Let's say we put down 10 to go in, shall we? To start,
10.
10 gold pieces. So low bet.
I look at Lenore. Is that a lot?
In our line of work, not particularly.
Very well.
Right. So the two of you get in at this table and you start playing cards as you're going, kind of like maybe Texas Hold'em style game. Bernard runs over quickly to be dealer for this, as Xavier just kind of snaps and has him run over, and he's quick going with the cards. We can do rollies to have a little bit of fun to just see. I don't have a particular mechanic for this Texas Hold'em style game, but we can do rollies to see how people's hands are doing.
Sure.
Sure.
So we'll we'll say closest to, well, maybe we'll do it like blackjack, and we'll just have 20 be if you're the closest to 20. But you can't go over. Whatever. We're doing rollies where if you're closest to 20, you're gonna win the hand. But we're gonna keep our numbers to ourselves and just reveal them once we like say the moment of flipping all the cards. So everyone roll a d20 who's at this table. Okay.
Hold on. There you go.
Well, okay, so I think we could do this. If you feel like you have a good hand, then we can raise, and we'll do 3 turns of this. So we'll go around. Lenore, do you want to so the Texas Hold'em style, I guess. Do you want to raise the bet or keep it the same?
I'll keep it the same.
Okay. And how about you, Dolores? You feeling good
follow-
about your hand?
I'm following Lenore's lead.
Okay, great. The other two hold off as well, and you see, what was it? Xavier put down 20 more. Shall we continue? How are people feeling about their hands? Anyone want to meet?
Certainly.
Add in 20 extra gold?
Why not?
All right, Dolores, you're in for 20 extra gold.
We're already out. Why not? I'll do the same.
And 20 extra. The other two, Kabu and Migrif, both like kind of retract their folding. So it's the 3 of you left. And we've got this last group. Let's say this is the reveal then. This will be the reveal. Anyone want to raise, I guess, in this last turn? Anyone want to raise any more?
No.
No? Okay, great. Then I'll say that now we can reveal our die rolls, our cards. Dolores, what did you get?
16.
16. All right. How about you, Lenore?
A good old 14.
14. Xavier nods at these. Yes, very solid hands. And then turns his over, and it's like 4 aces. It was a natural 20 on the die. And he just starts to shovel it all in. Very good playing with you. It was great. Please,
Yes.
I don't know that I know much about you. Tell me about yourselves, please. Before I rob you of more money. We should get to know each other better before I steal all that you have.
That was humor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly one way to joke. It's probably going to laugh as uncomfortably as that.
The other two laugh really loudly, too loudly.
Oh, yeah. Can I get a feel for that? Like, what? Why are they so intimidated by this person?
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, I put the dice roller on to put the D20's up. What is that total? 19.
19. You know, I think with that 19, as you're kind of like looking them over, you are getting more of the sense. So before you were just like, oh, rich guy, and these people clearly just are kind of fawning over him. But now with the way that they've kind of like been a little closed, folding early, all those things, you're like, these people seem like they're maybe down on money, and they're maybe trying to find a new patron. And this is the guy that they've kind of pegged on this journey as being the one with the most money. So that's the read you feel you get on them. And you clearly get from him that he knows this, and he's kind of okay with it.
Yeah, he's just gonna throw his weight around. That's what he's gonna do.
Exactly. So I hear that you're Heracles Peridot's new partners in non-crime. Is that so? How is it working with Heracles these days?
A mixture of tolerable and terrible.
Yes, that does sound right for him. Yes.
Sometimes he is prone to rare insights. He's very useful to have around. It's kind of
very
like
particular.
a lightning rod.
Very astute. Very astute.
Has he been solving? Have you been working together with all your cases, or does he take many on his own? I'm just trying to get a set. We used to work together, and some time ago we just kind of drifted apart, and we just had a tough case, one we couldn't solve. So I'm just trying to get a feel if Heracles maybe got back on the right track, or...
Well, I've always thought he's very driven to solve crime.
Yes,
I haven't. I don't think I'm quite familiar with the case that he has not solved.
Oh,
Yes, I think he would have talked about that profusely. But he hasn't mentioned it.
It was a trip we were taking overseas some 150 years ago. Old memory. And, I thought for sure he was onto something. And of course, with my help, I was his partner, in that. He likes to say traveling companion, like just, I think maybe he likes to keep that distance, but we were closer, I felt. And,
Close.
Well, as close as old friends can be, as close as old friends who work on the cases occasionally together. He would let me try to help out with it. Anyway, I say this because we were on this voyage and we almost had it, but it just seemed like suddenly...
So which one of you was responsible for the failure, or was it a shared experience?
Oh, well, I mean... You can see he's really he doesn't want to claim any kind of failure. I'm really more of a help in the part, so I can't claim that I was the one who made us fail this. In fact, I think I don't know. This is me speculating. It was 150 years ago. Sometimes I think that Heracles maybe just kind of gave up on solving it. Gave up on.
I
yes.
highly doubt that. I've met stomach flukes with less tenacity than Peridot.
Yes. I would have thought that was strange too. And then we just never spoke again. I'm sorry, I'm taking up all your time. I asked to learn about you, and I'm talking about Heracles.
Oh no, you're just trying to find information on our friend. It's quite obvious.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Have you met my new partner? And right over your two shoulders, you feel this presence You
Mhm.
smell like sage and kind of like perfume and like just this very thick douse of like potpourri-esque smell.
Patchouli. Just say patchouli. We all know you mean patchouli. You don't have to. You don't have to sugarcoat this.
And Carm kind of leans in.
Hello. It is a pleasure to be in space with the two of you. I have met your friend as well, a pleasant individual who occasionally likes to creep into places.
Yes, he is
Yes.
prone to that.
I suppose we all are, aren't we, as detectives?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you're a detective, are you?
I am. I'm a psychic detective.
That doesn't
I don't think
seem...
I.
Yeah, Dolores gets this kind of that meme.
I don't think I've heard of such a thing.
It is a particular specialty. Not as many psychics practice in the world of solving cases, but I have taken to it as I feel it is my virtue and value, and I feel that I share that with Xavier. We have a high bar for justice, and I have great sense of people. In fact, I see you, and he'll turn to you, Dolores, and since you're sitting and he's standing, you're staring straight into his liquid chest where you can kind of see your reflection. And he kind of like leans closer. In your face, I read a creative spark with bodies. I see in you creativity, singing, dance. There is flesh, movement, song. Does this mean anything to you?
Absolutely not. Please go away.
And he'll turn to Lenore immediately. And again, you are met with just wall of like liquid chest, where you're kind of staring at your reflection in the ripples.
And in you, I see protection, wishing to hold those safe, perhaps lies to mask. You have dealt with particular individuals that are the opposite of us, I think.
I think she doesn't even really budge at his scrutiny. I think she looks him right in the eye and says, "Well, how do you think most of us got here?"
Yes, this is very true. This is true, is it not, Xavier? I mean, we deal with... we deal in dirty deeds, don't we? If you'll
Dirt cheap.
excuse me.
And we're
Migriff.
still here.
Migriff Kabu, we'll talk more about your your prospects, your projects that you were telling me. I think I need to take a quick break in the room before I come back for dinner, which is very soon. Thank you both. Pleasure. I'm ready to get slammed at the bar if you are, and have a little dance after dinner. Yes, yes. And Xavier starts to wander off. Carm is already gone. Somehow just like vanished from sight. And Migriff and Kabu kind of look across the table at you. Yeah, I shouldn't have placed that bet, I don't think.
You need money from him, don't you?
I have to poop.
And he gets up and walks away immediately. Migriff looks very uncomfortable. I don't, just to be clear, I don't have to poop, but I'm just gonna,
Of
I'm gonna
course.
get up and, yeah, I'm gonna go. Good to meet you. Excited to, okay, bye. And he'll start to wander off.
Now I remember why I don't deal with other.
Very direct, aren't they?
Very
I love
disturbing.
that this is just a collection of the most awkward people
It really
all together
is.
on a
They're
ship. It's
they're
great. It's
detectives.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So with that, I think the two of you see, since you're in the dining room, that Elise and Bernard are starting to come out with plates of like food and things. They've taken away the appetizer table and are starting to get dinner set, or getting plateware and stuff like that set up for dinner, which is going to be starting soon. So with that, we will flash over to Charles, Elise, and John, who are probably in their million. I don't know how long you wanted to play bocce ball with John, but he would be there forever. And for some reason, he keeps winning, and just continually. Each time he wins, he goes, "Oh, beginner's luck." Oh, did I tell you about that one case? I have to tell you, I am on quite a roll with this Yara the Evil case. I don't know if you've heard much about that cult in particular. It's very interesting, kind of a spider person effect, lots of surrogacy and like eggs. I
think Lise can make it about 5 rounds with this before she is thanking John for his riveting conversation,
Yes. Oh,
and declaring that she's going to get some appetizers and some noshes and enjoy.
oh yes. Well, I'll update you. I'll have that case closed soon. And we'll turn to Charles. Charles, are you still here?
Charles probably left midway through the explanation of like the spider cult's like surrogacy ritual. Like he just put his ball into Lisa's hands and just turned around and started walking away without saying anything.
Yes. So Lise, as you leave, John turns to Charles, who's not there, and starts to speak. And it takes him a couple seconds before he realizes he's in an empty room, and he just sighs, and then starts to leave. But we'll follow. Well, Charles and Lise, what are the two of you up to as you leave John behind?
John.
I think Lisa's going to kind of do a quick tour of the ship before she heads back to the main, like to the dining hall and such. She wants to kind of get a sense of the place and get a feel of like what is all around. So she'll probably do a loop, note where doors are, where the lifeboats are, make sure she has a good mental map.
Great. Yeah, I think as you do that, do you have any particular questions yourself as that you might want to find out in particular, or just kind of Lisa's trying to take a mental map in general to get the lay of the land?
Mental map in general to get the lay of land. I think I as a player have a question. Is it I know there's the 2 rows of rooms. Is there a hallway through the center that the doors are at, or are the doors on the outside?
The doors are on the outside.
Okay.
And then the hallway is basically like hallway, and on the other side of the hallway is the outer part of the ship with the deck where you can like go out and all that jazz.
Great.
Yes, and so as you kind of mark around, like all the doors seem to be closed. As you pass by the starboard side and you start walking closer, or leaving, when you're leaving, so it's actually pretty close to when you come out, you see the door cracked ajar on the second door to the stern on the starboard side, and there is this little, like, you can't quite tell what it is, but there's something sticking out of the door. like a little stick of some sort, but it's not quite a stick.
She'll see about getting a closer look as she walks by. Or she comes up to it.
As you come up to it, it sucks back into the door. The door's still open.
Is there light inside?
There is light inside. The room is lit.
Okay. Can she see anything? Like, could she see any movement other than this stick or anything else?
From the angle, you can kind of see into the room. You don't see any person. It seems like if there was anyone, they might be on the other side of the door, so you're not staring directly at them. But you see a room that a couple suitcases kind of opened up. There seemed to also be a child's backpack lying on the ground. And you might suppose from that there might be a child in this room.
Okay. Well, she will just rap on the door a couple times and goes and just, excuse me, your door is cracked open. If you'd like some privacy, you might want to shut it.
I know it was open. I kept it open on purpose.
Oh, what for? Just out of curiosity.
The stick comes out and it kind of like almost jabs you. And you, as you get kind of see it now that's closer, it seems to like there's some kind of like ribbing to it or something. It's not quite sure. It's interesting. And then you're like, okay, this looks a little microphone-esque or something. Like it's some kind of sound device. She seems to be picking up some kind of sound. I wanted to have a listen to the people who are on board. You can never be too careful.
Oh, well, how much do you hear with that thing? It's a charming little device.
Thank you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, yes, I'm right
I know.
here.
Yes, I know you're very close, but I could hear you loud and clear when you left that room.
Oh.
And I can also hear loud and clear other things.
Oh, have you heard anything interesting?
I heard a lot of commotion in the room next door.
Oh. Do you know who's in that room?
I think it's the goblin gentleman. I think he has a lab set up. I don't know if it's drugs or if it's other kind of lab stuff.
Well,
but I'm not a drug detective, so I'm a child detective.
Charming. Well, it's very important to start early and get lots of practice. Well,
that's right.
From what I know of the gentleman you speak, he seems to make things, and I've seen a specialty in fascinating goggles. So probably it's tinkering work of some sort or another.
Yeah.
Just by deduction from my observations.
That's good. You hear like scribbling on paper, and the stick ducks away for a second. Are you a detective too? It sticks back out.
I am.
What do you do?
My name is Lise. I do quite a number of different cases, kind of whatever crosses my path, but many sort of mysteries. Murders, thefts, hauntings sometimes, often a lot of hauntings actually, but usually the hauntings aren't actually what you think they are. Charming.
My dad says that too. He deals in monsters.
Oh.
And she'll like open up the door and like
Yep, he deals in monsters and he's going to present at the Detective Con.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. It's such a wonderful thing. Are you excited to hear?
I am excited about it. I'm excited about it, but he seems very nervous. He says it's because of the airship and he doesn't like the airship, but I know that it's something more with my deduction.
Oh, well, he is your father, so you do probably know him quite well.
I do.
Yes. I mean, giving public talks can be quite nerve-wracking for many people. So it may be that, perhaps. Does that sound approximately correct?
That sounds approximately correct. I think he's really nervous about my dad says that I should practice discretion more.
Well, I don't intend to pry, so you're quite all right, Miss.
Miss Margaret Ann Monstera.
Well, it is
Charles Oakhurst.
lovely to meet you, Miss Margaret and Monstera. You're quite a charming little detective.
Thank you. Well, do not discretion when it comes to the D word and myself, because my father does not know that I am coming to Detective Con not as his daughter, but as a detective.
Ah, undercover.
Yes.
I see. Clever.
I am. In fact, she'll bring her backpack over, and she'll open it up, and inside toys, different like things like that, and then she'll open up a compartment on the bottom side and show you all of her like little detective gear. There's like a mini thieves toolkit and things like that.
This is just delightful. I love this.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. I worked on it all summer.
Ooh.
She'll like zip it back up. Mrs. Marbles helped me. Mrs. Marbles does a lot of craft work.
Oh, well, that is
Yes.
always a very useful and a handy skill to have. You cannot underestimate the usefulness of many different skills. It's always lovely to pick up anything you can. Do you have
Mrs.
anything
Marbles says-
exciting? Oh, no, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was just going to say Mrs. Marbles says that craft work is very important and that knitting helps you not only with making your own clothes if you'd like, but also with tying certain knots.
Yes.
So there are all kinds of skills you can have from all kinds of things. But I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
Oh, how polite. I was going to ask you if there's anything you're particularly excited about at the convention.
I'm excited for the thing that I can't share with you.
Oh. Does it deal with your father?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will just have to be surprised.
Yes, it will be
I
a
look
big
forward to
surprise.
Yes. Well, it does seem to be that dinner is going to be happening soon.
Yes. Should I come with you? And she'll like
Yes, certainly.
bundle her stuff up.
Yes, I'm going to do a further loop around the ship just to get a sense of it. If you'd like to join me.
Yeah, I'll come with. And she'll pack up her backpack and put it on and come with you. She'll take your hand as you walk.
Yeah, and Lisa will offer the hand, and they can do the tour together.
Great. And you all go around. You'll find that the same thing that Hera found, the doors for the downstairs are on the stern side, near the rec room on either side of the ship. Lifeboats, again, closer to the stern side as well, on the outer side of the ship. And you kind of, as you go, you'll see some people moving about. As you get to the other side of the ship, you watch Xavier kind of jet past you into the room, into his room, which is the last room on the port side. He looks just a little drunk already, and like he wants to get more drunk.
All right. Well, Lise will continue to do her tour and finish her tour in the dining room with her little mini me.
Great. Charles, a quick check-in with you before we jump back to Hera in the basement.
All right. Well, Charles is going to go back to his room to like nicen himself up for dinner. And by that, I mean put on a different colored tie. Then he sees like all of his clothes are folded up, so we have him like sorting through them messily as he goes to find his tie before he. And once that's done, like he's like walking around the room tying it. He's gonna try to find Bernard to finally give him a tip because he finally found the gold pouch. So
Great. You'll find Bernard in the dining room as he and Elise are kind of setting up for dinner. He sees. Roll me a your choice, perception or insight check.
ooh, spicy. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Insight is a +7. Let me see what my silver tongue is only for. Where's my D20? Oh, there's my D20. Okay. Whoops. 6 plus 7. That was unfortunately a 9. I am whistling to myself.
A 9. Well, I think you see Bernard going around, but he does seem pretty busy. He's like kind of glancing around at the different guests. He sees John for a second, who's like talking Mrs. Marble's ear off, just going on and on about some case or other. And you can see she's getting like polite face to like starting to get a little aggravated and might start jetting soon. But yeah, otherwise he just seems a little hurried, but he'll spot you after his kind of look around at the other guests and yes, can I help you with anything?
Yes, well, you see, I was sorting through, putting on my tie, and I had to look through it because my friend Heracles, he has this habit of folding everyone's clothes while they're not in their room. But I think I'm sorry, don't mean to hold you up. But I found my gold purse, and he's just going to produce a gold piece and put it into Bernard's hands.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for this.
For all the good help you've done earlier, and all the help I'm sure you have done for the rest of my friends.
Oh, yes, I actually a table guy. I spent like a half hour with him, and I didn't. Anyway, it was a whole thing. So I appreciate it. Yeah. Cool. Dinner's gonna start soon, so I hope you enjoy. There's a fish, veg, meat. Okay. And he'll like nod at you. Great. And then you settle up in the dining room, and we'll pop back down to Hera as everyone's hearing the kind of dining bell and gathering again. Hera, what are you doing in the basement of the I'm calling it the basement of the ship, but the hull. Yes.
So as I'm have my lockpicks in my hand and I'm getting ready to pick the first lock, I suddenly start to sneeze uncontrollably. Achoo! 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 Because apparently all my friends are talking about me. He says to Rock.
Rock.
Someone must be talking about me. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, they love you so much.
And he'll take out of his little pocket square, like in his little suit that he's got on that matches yours, he'll take out a little like handkerchief and give it to you. So you can...
Mercy.
Oh, good.
You're such a good friend.
Oh, you're a good friend.
Okay, let's get this.
All right. This is a higher DC than the last time.
Okay. 24.
You get your picks in and everything. You're starting to go. The bottom one you get easier. It's the deadbolt that's giving you some kind of trouble as you're getting in. You've almost got it, but it doesn't get the final click in. It kind of gets stuck. You're able to get your tools out fine, but you couldn't quite open the door.
That is unfortunate. I think I might need to go and speak with Lenore about this. Well, I would like to listen one more time and see if I can make out the sounds that I heard earlier.
Yeah, roll me. You can roll me an investigation check for this if you'd like, since it's kind of trying to suss out a particular sound instead of generalized. If that's a better.
Actually, I prefer my perception. It's a little.
Then
bit
let's roll perception. Yeah.
Only a 14.
14. You're listening. You can't quite hear it anymore. There's like a moment where you think maybe you're hearing it, but then you're like, well, maybe, yeah, it's just not the same sound. So you got it the one time, but you haven't heard it again.
Very well. I believe I am hungry, Rock. How about you?
Hungry. So hungry.
I agree. Let us go and sample the grand banquet that they have prepared for us upstairs, and hopefully not get cornered by too many people.
And as you start to make your way upstairs, you don't get cornered by people per se in talking, but there's just absolute kind of ruckus as people are moving from their rooms, like down into the area, as you're kind of leaving. They all seem pretty busy with themselves. But go ahead and do this since you're coming out into a busy hallway, and you'll hear this as you're approaching. Roll me a stealth check to see how unseen you get out of this
23.
Oh yeah, you hear the movement about. You hear some footsteps rushing into the room nearest you, which you know is Xavier's room. But then you hear the door shut, and when you hear it shut, you open the door and are able to get out unseen.
That Xavier, he hey, let's try to duck him as much as we can.
Really duck him?
No. Just stay away. He has the how you say the emotional problems, and we do not want to exacerbate.
Okay.
Hmm.
Exacerb.
Sometimes a cigar is not just a cigar, but anyway, let us go. And he's luckily he's small, so like he can just scurry around through people's legs, and they probably aren't even paying attention.
Yep, and you go right on in, and invisible rock floating over. You hear some as you're kind of going forward. You hear the occasional like, "Oh, what? Excuse me!" Like just people like looking and being like, "Why did this person bump into me?" and not seeing anyone. And you are all in the dining hall for dinner. And do you all sit at the same table?
I think probably Lenore and I are still at the same table. Gesture people up.
Least will aim to sit with the group, yeah.
Yeah, let's converge on Lenore and Dolores.
So, Lenore, typically when somebody falls from a dirigible or a great height, they damage their spine, which transects the aorta. That is how most people die. Therefore, if and when we do plummet to our demise, try to fall on your side, because that way you will actually maybe survive.
I feel like they damage more than
I'm just trying
their
to help.
spine when they fall.
Well,
What charming dinner conversation.
Pues
as Lise like pulls the chair out and sits down. Par for the
More
course,
drink.
I see.
How have you all been?
I had an absolutely delightful game of bocce ball with John. And Charles, of course, Charles.
Of course. Well, it was John's game. We were just playing in it also.
Yes. He wasn't that capable prior. He must have improved, which is a good thing. Yes. Did Margaret split off to go to her dad when we came in, or?
Yeah, I think as you came in, she split off to Mrs. Marbles and checked in with her, and then her dad. You kind of would have spotted this. Her dad kind of grabs her by the shoulder and starts to lead her to a different table from Mrs. Marbles.
Okay. Lise would have bid her farewell as she went off to Mrs. Marbles. So.
Great. Yes, she gives you a nod and okay, we're discretion. Great. And Hera, did you join the table as well? I think you started to.
Yeah. I was going to go and try to sit down next to Lenore, or at least grab them and speak with them for a moment. Lenore.
Oui.
Come down. Yes.
Oh.
Ah,
Like leans down.
I cannot say these for absolute certainty, but I do believe I'm stage whispering here. I do
Mhm.
believe that that there is a creature of some type down in the hold.
Strange. Do airships typically transport animals?
No, not that I know of. It is very strange. A small mystery, but a mystery nonetheless.
True.
I-
Ones that you were in the cargo hold for.
Well, I was just looking around, and you know, as old as I am, sometimes I get turned around, and I ended up down
yes.
there.
Yeah,
But
me.
you know, I am these hands. Very old, and sometimes the arthritis kicks in, and I could not get past the second lock. I hope perhaps to implore your assistance.
A minute. Indulge your curiosity if I do so.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay. Well, we can check that out after dinner.
Dinner. That does sound quite lovely. I do hope they have the little cakes with the profiteroles on top. These are always my favorite.
And dinner starts to come out, and it looks nice. It's a smaller pared down version, but it looks like someone really trying with what they have to make fine dining possible. You see, as dinner starts to come out to you all, a dessert table is being set up. There is a little cake with how do you say this word? God.
Profiteroles.
Profiteroles on top. There are some eclairs and donuts. It just looks absolutely
nice.
divine. A very delightful dessert table. And kind of looking around some of the things you'll see with people who are just seated together. Go ahead and everyone roll me a perception check if you feel like your character would be taking a gander about.
I'll take that 17.
Well, I rolled, but I'm not getting anything.
I'll take that 17.
17, that's good.
The cream cakes! I love those. That's all I can see is the little cakes with the cream and the filling and the chocolate on top.
That's a gentlemanly 13.
Yeah, my total was
Yeah.
11, so.
11, okay. Dolores, how'd you do?
17.
17, okay. So, and Lenore, you had a
Also a 17.
17, 17. Okay, so Lenore and Dolores.
We're on the same level.
Yeah, we got the. Well,
got
I only
that
have a
card game
+2, but
together.
it just kind of worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you take a look about, I think because you both were at the table with Kabu and Migrif, you might be a little more prone to catch this. But Margaret and Migrif sat at a table together, and then Kabu came over, and then you both see that Migrif and Kabu start talking, and you can see a kind of like tenseness. Particularly in Migrif, and then he kind of puts his hand on his daughter's shoulder with a motion of like, I'll be back. And then he and Kabu kind of step out of the dining hall for a moment. And this is like as dinner's kind of coming out and people are getting served and starting to eat. I think everyone in general would see Xavier's come back and he's even more trashed than before. And Carm is like popping up around people, and just in being close proximity to you, you can hear something that generally is repeated of like, I know your deep secrets, and like going into some kind of obscure spiel. I would say with the 17 for the both of you, you notice that Carm goes over to John, and John, like, kind of like bops over and starts to entertain this person. And then there's a stillness. And then he kind of like turns and looks at his plate for a long time and does not talk for a bit. And I think those are the things you see. Is anyone looking for any particular person? Is anyone trying to scope anyone out? No.
I will be watching the psychic on a regular basis, and Lenore might have picked up on some human emotion within Dolores.
Yeah, like if I look across the table or something, kind of like notice that, like, for someone who seems to know people so well, they don't really know how to talk to them.
I just like studying people and writing it down, and that man was very, I wouldn't like to say perceptive, but what did anything that he say resonate with you?
Oui.
How would he know?
That I do not know. I mean, are there different divination magics? Is he a magic user? Do you know?
I don't wish to believe in mind reading. That's all tricks and mirrors. But he did say something quite specific, and not that I'm admitting it to anything, that...
Yes, what he did say to us was very strange.
Yes. Yes, he did. And I'm not what I would... Yes. We've shared secrets, haven't we, Lenore?
More or less. Just not that one.
Well, there was a time, an earlier time, when I built someone, and he went on to have a very wonderful singing career. So-
Anyone that I would have heard of? Perhaps?
Jack. I called him Jack. I think he kept that as a stage name.
Lisa's absolutely listening to this conversation, by the way.
Oh, definitely.
He used to do show tune. I think that was just to insult me and make me angry, but it was an unexpected side effect of the resurrection / putting pieces together. I don't know where he got it. So how does that man know?
Is anyone a musical? Is any character here a musical fan?
Not
Yeah.
particularly.
I think
Yes,
this is Kinku. He would have dabbled in music stuff.
Lise
Okay,
keeps an ear out and pays attention to what's happening in the music scene.
For those who are musical fans, you will know of a theater musical artist occasionally named solely Jack, who will perform, and the last thing that he was in was the Music Man. It's a very good production.
I heard of this. They did much, very good on the musical review.
Well, yes. Anyway,
So this psychic detective is what exactly is he doing? I haven't encountered him yet. Maybe that's a good thing.
he's throwing very oddly specific items that chest, was his bare chest like shining or something?
Reflective.
He is a very attractive man from what I've seen.
I do not know how they put the body glitter on the water genasi, but somehow they seem to do that.
Well, from my understanding of body glitter, the difficulty isn't getting it on, it's getting it off.
Ah.
There's no getting it off.
It
I've
becomes
had a few
part of
weddings
you.
in my life. It took decades to disappear entirely.
It
Hmm.
is nice to see my old friend Novell happy in their private life. That is it.
Oh, and since we're on the
Okay.
subject, which is actually not the subject, but Hera, why did you give up on a case 150 years ago?
That doesn't sound like him.
A case? I do not know what you mean. I have never given up on a case.
Well, it's Xavier. It's correct, Xavier. He quite distinctly blamed you for giving up on a case.
Oh, you see, just that old man. His mustache is very big and proper. Kind of, they just kind of droop just a little bit, and he says, is that what he is saying? Oh, mon ami. You never able to see the truth when it is in front of the face. Yes.
Was that what happened with the case?
The case was very, very complicated. I was on a voyage across the sea, going home to take up another case that I had recently gotten new information of when we were hit with storms and blown off course. At the same time, an individual was murdered on the ship we were traveling on. My old friend Novell, his papa owned the ship and was able to get me passage very quickly in a very last minute. And, well, being that the great Heracles Peridot, was on the ship, they of course asked me to go and investigate. It was a tragic tale. The individual in question was, in fact, a murderer who had escaped the country he had committed the crime in and was living abroad. I found out during the course of the investigation that every single passenger had a connection to that man.
Including yourself?
No, I was merely, how you say, innocent bystander.
Mm-hmm.
Right place at the wrong time.
Indeed. The case was, how you say, not so simple. Every single person there had a reason to kill the man. And that man, he deserved to die. He killed an innocent child.
Is that why you didn't pursue it?
The facts of the case were, every single individual that had a connection to that man had a part in stabbing that man. It was impossible to say which one did the deciding blow. And so, as the case was indeed solved, when we departed, I told them the individual was someone who stowed away on board the ship and must have disappeared into the night. For who else could it have been not the innocent passengers who slept much more soundly, knowing that the one who killed that poor little girl was finally brought to justice. My dear friend Novell, he would not accept these facts. He wanted somebody to be held accountable. But how do you hold so many accountable when you cannot say who actually committed the crime? It is a tragic case, but I am satisfied in the knowledge that the case was indeed solved.
Then my belief was right. You did, in some ways, solve the case.
As I do, Dolores.
I could not believe a word that he was saying.
Not at all. He does seem rather jealous.
Indeed.
Wants to know quite a bit about you.
Novell. He was a good companion, a good traveling friend. His Mama and Papa had many fine vessels and modes of transportation that allowed me to get where I needed to. And he was, at the time, very good friend. Did not bother me on the cases. I did not bother him about his debauchery, and we could laugh and have a good time. And so when I say it is so nice to see him settling down, I mean it. He chased the tail? Is that how you say?
Are they a couple or are they detective partners?
I assume he say they are partners. They are partners. He is
Yes.
not a detective.
But we are all going to a detective conference. And so the terminology is unclear for this, I think.
There's not always a difference.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to be a difference, but
When I saw Novell, I assumed that his late mama bought this airship as well. Is that not the case?
So he's that.
Well, the captain did say it was her ship. But
Yes,
that
the captain said a lot
Yes.
of things. I'm not
Yes.
sure if the captain's aware of what planet she's on.
All the captains say it is their ship. That does not mean they own the ship. It just means that it is their ship.
True.
They are the captain.
True.
It is
While this
her- Oh,
while this conversation is happening, can I can Lise be looking to see where Karm is at?
literally, I was about to say Karm is right at the table and goes, "This is her ship, and this is also not her ship." And then he sticks an eclair in his mouth and takes a bite. Eclairs are my favorite, for they are filled with secret deliciousness. We'll take another bite.
I see.
You are really going hard on that whole bit of secrets and being a psychic, aren't you? And I
Yes.
must say, I do respect that. But theming only goes so far.
Tell us Lisa's.
Sir, if it is sir, if I may, you are in polite company. Please do cover up. It's a debate. It is a thing.
Oh.
And she'll pass over her shawl for him to cover up.
Charles
I
looks
see, and he
surprised.
will.
It is
he will
rude to be so underdressed, especially
yes.
at dinner.
Thank you. And he will wrap it around himself, and then as he wraps it and kind of places it, it's perfectly draped like around the chest.
No, it needs to be covering. So I am
Yes.
sorry, but this is
thank you so much for this kind consideration. I will give this back to you, I'm sure, by the end of the night, if not by tomorrow morning.
And then he'll kind of like turn and start to walk away, finishing the
That's
second
good enough.
eclair
He's
on his
gone.
plate.
It's good enough. He's gone.
Charles,
Can I get a
Uh,
vibe check on this guy?
Companies.
Yeah. Wait, you want to roll a check? Whoever wants to roll a check, you can roll an insight check, or tell me if you've got another one that you might want to.
Insight is
What
exactly
was that
what I
about?
want to roll.
What was that about polite company, Chell?
Charles was picking up a shrimp off the floor that he had dropped when you were like, "This is polite company," and he just like is holding it right in his mouth as you say that.
Nat 20.
Nat 20,
Nice.
nice.
Nat 20, or as my dice says, fuck you.
Nice.
Love it.
That's very good.
Yes,
The Nat 1 is fuck me.
Yeah,
makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I think with the with the Nat 20, I mean, your read on Karm is that he really believes in himself and his ability to do these things. I think there's a lot of, like, he's not conning, or in his mind, he is not conning anyone. There's an intuitiveness that he is trying to decipher. Whether or not you feel like the read is truly like from this kind of magical arcane place of like digging into people's psyche to find their secrets, or if it's, I think with that Nat 20, you get that it might be some of that in parts, but that a lot of it is also, there's something in seeing someone's face reflected in his chest, essentially, that allows him to kind of see their reaction to their own face as he's saying this thing. It's almost this weird kind of mirroring effect where he can kind of get an insight about how someone's feeling about what they were just told.
The titties.
So there's yeah. Yes.
The pecs are the gateway to the soul.
The tits know all.
Yeah.
The tits
That's right.
know all.
It's have no secrets left.
We need that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
The tits know all.
New merch. New merch. Oop.
Lost
Oop,
Caravan.
come on.
The tits
Yeah.
know all.
Oh,
Yeah, come on. Come on.
get on it. Hoot.
And as like dinner's starting to kind of wrap up, you see you hear a kind of exclamation, because you're kind of close to the dessert table. You've seen Karm kind of come back and forth, and then you see John go over and go to the dessert table and kind of hover there for a bit, like he's watching all the desserts. And then see the last eclair on the table, and try to pull Bernard aside as he's running around. Please save this for me. I feel like someone else is eating all the eclairs, and I just want to, if you could just please keep this one on reserve for me. I'll be right back. I just need to use the bathroom. Excuse me. And then he'll like go off. Meanwhile, Margaret is like, I think, what was it? Charles, you're really on this. You see a little head poking out from under the dessert table and then kind of like scurrying out the other way and heading out as Margaret is like trying to find someone else. Mrs. Marbles comes over with a little profiterole cake of sorts and has a secondary plate and comes over and goes, Heracles, I think I remember. It's been some time since we've traveled together, but I remember you raiding the dessert table for these, so I figured I'd bring one over since I was getting one myself.
Ah, well, thank you, Madame Marbles. It has been a long time, has it not?
Yes, it has. And I've met some of your companions. Mr. Detective Crow here, for a time.
Was he eating something off the floor?
Yes, I believe it was some shrimp.
Charles, what did I tell you about eating off the floor?
When you look at Charles, he's maneuvering a mage hand towards the eclair as Bernard's back is turned to just pick it up and like spirit it towards their table, like without having to get up.
It's going. I don't know if you're gonna make a fuss about this, but as it's
Oh.
floating in the air, Karm grabs it and eats it.
You know what? Charles can't help but stand an eclair eating icon. Keeps those titties
Lise-
nice and wet.
Lise, as soon as Mrs. Marbles came up, Lise took that moment to go and get a plate for the dessert table and literally take one of everything that's left to come back to the table. And just start enjoying in small bites. The whole thing's for her.
Oh.
It's all for her.
I mean, Hera started with dessert and is still currently working on dessert. He didn't touch actual dinner. He just enjoys the sweets.
Hera, I believe the rule is 5 seconds for food. And if you don't start counting, the 5 seconds never really start. So I am in the green, as it were, for the shrimp.
Charles, that is not how time works, my friend.
I'm with Charles on this. I think 5-second rule has been around for quite some time. I think it stands in perpetuity.
Thank
Charles
you,
is saying
Detective
that
Marvel.
they do not actually count the time. Charles has eaten things off the floor like an hour later. I have seen...
Hera, eventually it's just good for the immune system, all right? Eventually
that's right.
it's just good for the constitution. Don't.
It is so unsanitary.
Well,
That is why your stomach always hurts.
Also, Also, next time you fold my things, I appreciate you folding them, by the way. Please just keep the ties on top because you know I like to change ties before dinner.
But the tie is the smallest thing. It does not go on the top. You must put things in the sequential order with the biggest things.
At the dessert table, you hear this cry. It's a cry that immediately stops, and like the people in the dining room all turn, and John's staring at the dessert table where there is no eclair.
As long as John doesn't get one unhappy.
Okay, and he like picks up a donut and like sadly walks back to the table where as he's walking to the table, the other people who are sitting there start to move away. And he sits and enjoys his donut alone. So dinner is wrapping up. There are clearly cocktails on. Elise has gone back behind the bar as like fully situated. Xavier is drunk as hell, and it seems like Karm is getting a little tipsy too. They're kind of starting to dance a little bit, trying to get other people to dance too. Migriff looks very uncomfortable. Yeah, Elise, what?
Lise would like to go find Margaret, and bring her over to introduce her to John and tell her that John is a wealth of information about the field.
Why would you do that
Great.
to her?
I mean, wealth of information. He has a wealth of information.
She wants information.
Mhm.
He
She
won't
does.
shut up.
Wikipedia is a wealth of information.
She does. She comes over. She sits down. My name is Margaret Ann Monstera. Very nice to meet you, Mr. John. John. Just John. Most people can't remember the rest of it anyway.
And they settle into a talk. He immediately starts going,
Do you know about Yara the Evil? Let me tell you about surrogacy. What's surrogacy?
Can I make a
here we
perception
go.
check?
There we are. There we are. The questions have started.
Can
The
I just hear
conversation
that?
started. That
Yeah,
child is
Dolores-
not leaving that table for a while.
That's right, fully entertained. Dolores, yes. I think you do catch that. What do you do upon hearing the start of that?
Okay. I kind of picture it that Dolores is currently, cutting into her fish. Just, being very dainty, and then it's just literally she jumps so much that it fires across the table.
It like
It's
shoots
just like this.
so far
Yeah.
as to like head toward the other table. Kabu is like,
Ah! Oh God!
like looks over back at you a second, and then like tries to turn back in conversation with.
Charles, there's some more on the floor over there if you'd like it.
Yes, you could definitely have it, Charles.
Charles has
Thank you
become a
very much.
Roomba.
The hand is still shaking. She's trying to
Are you all right, Dolores?
Yes, absolutely.
That sounds like a lie, dear.
Very unsurreptitiously is like leaning towards the conversation.
John would love to have more of an audience if you would like to go listen.
Perhaps I shall. If you'll excuse me. Dolores will just go or sit down and just stare right at you.
Hi. I was just regaling Miss Margaret Ann Monstera about this latest case that I've been working on. I'm very close to finishing it. I think I've got a witness that is wanting to speak out, and if that one witness speaks out, there are several other lined up ready to go. Do you know Yara the Evil?
No. Yes. Sort of.
Oh, you know of her? You know of her cult? Their cult and the way that they go about the operations. It's really interesting.
It is a cult. It is a social organization.
Sure. That's what people in cults sometimes call cults. Were you ever in a cult? I was in a cult when I was young.
Oh, you were?
Yes. It's my story of how I came into cult detectivery over time. Was I was in one and left, and yes.
Please do go on about Yara.
Oh yes, I am almost finished with solving that case. There are some. There's
What
one
do you mean, case?
Well, I mean there have been talks about large levels of abuse, of possible murder. There's a lot of violence that has been enacted in the name of Yara the Evil, hence the name Yara the Evil, I imagine.
It's just a moment ago. She was quite sweet. Do go on.
Oh, did you know her personally? This is fascinating to me. I would love to hear of your experience of Yara the Evil.
There's a child present.
Oh, I'm not a child. I am a child. One moment, please. And she'll go away, and then she'll come back with Mrs. Marbles, sit her at the table, and then she'll walk away several steps, but kind of stand nearby. There's a little wand-like device in her hand.
Dolores has no idea.
So yes, now all adults, please go on.
Well, you're quite sweet, Stan. Yes, we did part on. Well, I did dump.
Oh,
She just wasn't spending enough time. But then again, I wasn't spending enough time with her. You know how relationships go.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's your name?
Dolores Ophelia Apple.
I'm so sorry. I'm a little starstruck. I have a collection of your letters in my briefcase.
Excuse me.
I certainly show them to you at some point this evening if you would like. There is more of this drunken swaying and dancing on the other side of the room, and suddenly there's like a hand that misses the table, and Karm kind of like smacks on the ground. And Xavier's like helping him up for a second. Whoa! Seems we've had a little too much to drink over there. Isn't that right, Karm? Come on, up we get. And Karm is like slowly trying to get up, but just cannot seem to keep his hand on a firm surface. It just keeps collapsing until he just kind of sinks to the floor.
Are we all able to clock that?
I think so. Just with the passive perceptions and a loud clatter and kind of stop in that direction. Karm is now on the ground, kind of like passed out, seemingly, maybe. Xavier's trying to like get him up. Oh, come on! He's just very drunk. Water genocides, it just floods the system. Come on!
If you could just back away from him, he does not seem like he's just very drunk.
Lisa's going to get up and come on over. Pardon me. I'm a cleric. Pardon me. Let me just take a look, please.
I'm gonna give Elise some bardic inspiration.
Ooh, nice.
So you get to add a D8.
Soundtrack.
Yeah.
I
feel like it's just a bass riff.
It's just the soundtrack to Clue.
It's the Columbo. It's the Columbo tune.
Yeah.
Elise, go ahead and roll me a medicine check.
Okay. That would be a 21.
Hell yeah.
21. You turn Karm over and see yourself reflected in his chest. Your shawl kind of spilled out across the floor. You're closing it up. A hand kind of comes up to your face. You did the right thing. And I think someone is going to die tonight. And then he just falls backward, hand going limp in your arms.
He is a psychic.
Well,
as with that medicine check, I think you can assess at this point. Like he was, like breathing was really labored, and then you could see the kind of stillness in his eyes as his hand falls to the floor.
Was there enough time for me to get off, cure wounds, spare the dying?
I would say go ahead and roll me. We're gonna roll a luck check.
Okay.
And if you roll a 17 or above, 17 to 20, you will have had enough time to do a spare the dying and get him just in stable state.
Stabilized at least, okay. No.
oh.
That's a 6. That's a 6. What exactly does Bardic Inspiration give me?
A D8, but even that.
Yeah. I can't get up to, well, no, I can't get up to 17 with a D8 anyway.
No.
Wait, with because the 6 plus...
A 6 plus 8
yeah,
is...
for 14.
Not enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. That's the last whisper. The shawl you used to cover up as he kind of falls back, falls slightly open, and you see your face reflected for a second in his shimmery body. But he is dead.
In the pits of truth.
In
the tits of truth.
That's right.
The moment Harris sees the life go out of his eyes, he's immediately doing a 360 and clocking the expression on everybody's face.
Amazing. All right. I'm gonna say that is. Ooh, I will let you argue for either, but my immediate gut was like insight to get reads on people, but
That works for
Great.
me.
I think Charles is going to look over to Miss Marble right quick and shoot off a message spell, asking her to get Margaret to Margaret's room.
Okay. You shoot that spell over Mrs. Marbles. Already on it. And you do see her shuffling Margaret away. You can see Margaret's kind of glancing back to see what the ruckus was, but is being guided out of the room.
19.
19. Hera, as you look about at all the different people, you see Bernard and Elise, who have been running around, trying to clear plates and everything. You see Bernard just completely drop a plate. Looks absolutely just like shaken. And Elise goes over to him and like puts an arm around him, like tries to just like squeezing his shoulders and whispering to him. First, the captain of the first mate came down to eat too. Greggy looks like they were immediately going to get like a first aid kit of some sort. It was in process and sees that happen and kind of stops, first aid kit in hand. Captain Philomena does seem a little drunk now, and basically just throws back some more without, like, looks around to see if anyone's looking and then tosses back more of a drink. Just like, what the fuck is happening on my flight? Margaret and Mrs. Marbles, you see them leaving, so you don't see their facial expressions. Migriff, Monstera, was kind of nearby and just completely like backed away for the moment, like just like not jumping in, more of the bystander effect of like, can I get out of here and away from this space for a moment, and then starts to look for his daughter and doesn't see her and then rushes out to go find her. Kabu didn't see it, like was turned the other way and then kind of finally turned to look and was just a little curious, like hasn't, whether it's height and like just not being able to see around the crowd that's gathered, doesn't quite know what's going on, it seems like. And Xavier, or John was talking with Mrs. Marbles and with Margaret, and they left. So I think at this point John has like turned from the table he was sitting at solitary and like started to get up and like move over to help and is starting to talk to the people around. Do you know first aid? There are many kinds of, I've been trying to learn CPR, and like starts to try to get into the space as well. And then I think that leaves Xavier, who just looks absolutely like, what the hell? He's clearly just drunk, right? He's just passed out. He's just passed out.
I'm sorry, sir.
Please.
We have
need to ask you something important. If you can get a sample of his blood, do you think you could try to tell what kind of poison it was? Because the last thing we saw him eating was the eclair that John specifically requested that Bernard save for him.
Well, first, let me detect if there's poison at all involved.
Yes, of course.
I'm gonna detect poison and disease.
Yeah, do it.
I was so close to taking that off my list, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, let's go gamers.
Nice. Let's go ahead and
Charles.
cast that. And did it roll for me? No, it didn't. Burp, burp. It's been a minute since I played a spellcaster. Give me 1 second to pull that up. It's so within 30 feet, I can sense the presence and location of poisons, poisonous creatures, and disease within 30 feet of me. I also identify the kind of poison, poisonous creature, or disease in each case. This does penetrate most barriers. Blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. And it is up to 10 minutes, so I assume that I can, move around if I don't detect anything immediately.
Great. Yes. You do detect poison in in Karm's body. The poison it's like a homemade, like could be made from household ingredients, like maybe even things you could find in your kitchen. Yeah, so very basic ingredients that make a poison that tends to mimic a kind of drunkenness until like death, which is what you all realize, and like that was what you saw. Because Karm was not drinking. And there is a slight sense. It's coming from the bar area.
She's going to gently lay Karm on the ground and go follow that sense towards the bar.
Okay. Yeah, as you go, it seems to be behind the bar. Do you go behind the bar?
Yep.
Okay.
We're on a case now. There is no privacy anymore.
Yep.
Yep. Behind the bar, in the bar trash can. It seems like it's kind of a bigger trash can, so it's not like bar exclusive, but it seems to be where most things have been dumped for the evening, off of plates and stuff like that. Is a syringe with just the remnants of whatever that poison was.
Okay, she will pull out a handkerchief and collect the syringe. And lift it up, and he was in fact poisoned.
So the syringe in this means it was injected later on. So it could have been.
Okay, sorry.
No, go on. I'm just.
I was going to ask the GM if there's remnants of anything that I can see on the like needle of the syringe. Like, for example, if it had gone into the eclair, can I see the like cream filling, like traces of the cream filling or something?
You hear the echoes of Karm's voice say, "Secret deliciousness." There is indeed just the little remnants of the eclair cream filling on the end of the syringe.
Charles, you are intuitive as ever.
Unfortunately.
Does seem to have been the eclair.
Now, was it one of the ones he ate earlier, or was it the one meant for John?
That
What?
I cannot tell you. He stole your eclair, John.
Yes.
And it may have been the killing blow. However, he did seem like he was getting drunk sooner than that.
So it could have been an earlier pastry. then.
Yes. And Lisa's going to be looking around and clocking reactions and looking at that now that she is no longer focused on the dead man. She will be taking that syringe and kind of wrapping it up in the handkerchief and like probably placing it somewhere fully in view to where it won't be like accidentally like someone won't be accidentally stepping on it or stabbing themselves on it or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyone who is taking that look around, roll insight checks on the reveal of the syringe.
I
No,
will
but
do that.
actually,
Insight should
please,
theoretically
shall
be
I take
good.
care of the body?
Oh, hey.
In what manner do you mean in this case, darling?
Preserve it, of course.
Yes, as long as the evidence is also preserved. Please.
Of course. I get a salt shaker, 2 coins, copper coins, and then basically shake salt into his eyes, place copper coins over it, and cast Gentle Repose.
Great.
Oh my god.
Just salt shakers.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Xavier's like, ah. Xavier throws up. Just
Yeah.
fully.
I did get a 24 on that insight.
Same.
Hey!
Woo! Oh, Hera, we can't hear you.
I got a 28.
Oh my
Ooh.
god.
Ooh.
Shit!
Y'all did great.
We
I
know
got
all
a
their
10.
secrets.
Okay, great. Yes, with the 24s, I go through my NPC list again of who's here. Upon Syringe, Xavier looks completely thrown by all of this, is drunk off his ass and is not sure what's right from, like, left from right, just completely, like, is slipping in his own vomit right now. Absolute fucking mess. I think with the 28, Heracles, and being an old friend, you see all of that. You see the being like really thrown off, and you see the kind of fear for his own life, like maybe he might be next or at risk. Yeah, there's just something that he's that's just that little note of that. For the 24s, Mrs. Marbles has come back, is in the room and is like kind of just scoping things out too, and like makes eye contact with you as she's like taking in everyone who's looking around, and she kind of like Crow in particular gives you a bit of a nod. As she's just kind of scanning. With the 28, you get the sense, Heracles, that she's maybe a little excited by the prospect of this. There's just a little glimmer of that. John is, I think, looks still baffled for the 24s, still looks baffled by someone was trying to kill me. With the 28, Heracles, there's something about John's, like, corner of the lips of John's mouth that just don't seem to quite match his expression totally. There's something a little off there. There's something he might be hiding. But he does also seem a little on edge. A little like someone coming after me now? Just slightly. And I think with that you kind of see glances around as he kind of also takes in the view of everyone else and what they're looking at. Karma's dead. Kabu. Kabu.
No expression.
Carv's got coins on the eyes and black's mouth. Kabu has spots Migriff, who has come back in for a second after having left to find his daughter. Seems to have found him and then leaves again. And Kabu clocks this and follows after. That's what you'll get with the 24s. With the 28, you'll get a sense of Kabu is tracking Migriff and is not trusting what this guy is doing. And kind of is letting all the rest of it fall away. And Captain Philomena is like racing up to basically is like, fuck, I have to deal with this now. talks to Greggy for a second, who is going and leaves to pull out the handbook of like, how do we handle murder on board? Is that a thing? And so the two of them are like kind of arguing back and forth or talking as they're flipping through to find out what they need to be doing in this moment. With the 28, Greggy looks a little sweaty, a little just nervous, maybe obviously nervous for the situation, but there's also this kind of edge of something's gone wrong and I am worried about something beyond this, maybe. Which leaves our support staff, Bernard and Elise, who again had that moment of kind of being together and like comforting each other after Bernard looks really surprised. They both are like looking at the syringe that was behind the bar and are like talking with each other very rapidly, tense body structure, like body statures and everything, as they are like pointing at the bar and pointing at each other and trying to figure out, like with the 28, they seem to be arguing with each other about how that got there. You're not sure. There seems to be a lot of pointing of like, where did that come from? Are they going to think it's us? That kind of stuff. And with the 28 with Bernard, there's still that disbelief, maybe is the word, of, yeah, there's just this disbelief that this particular thing happened, like almost a spooked feeling. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then finally, I would say the 24s, both of you catch the door opening, and Margaret crawling along the floor, trying to get back into the room and space. With the 28, Heracles, and seeing that, you can see that she she's trying to find out what more is going on, and is a little angry that she was stuck back in the room. And then there is also, I would say with the 28, you see the door to the kitchen. There's a figure in it for a moment, and then the door swings shut.
Hera would be climbing up onto first a chair, then a table. It takes a minute because he's tiny. And then he calls out, Captain, yes, please. Yeah. There has been a murder, as you see here. I must ask you to take command of the situation and make sure that nobody leaves this room. The killer is among us.
Okay.
There's kind of a hush as everyone, like, you know, it was already in there, you're all detectives, but there's that moment of the detective saying that everyone is like...
Lise takes advantage of the pause to just look at the captain and Greggy and go, that means that you'll need to go collect the two that just left the room.
And Greggy
and
is like,
and then she's immediately turning her attention to Bernard and Elise, and asking them to help Xavier sit down.
On it. And Elise kind of turns to Bernard. If you need to sit down, man, you can sit down for a second. If you need to reset. Yeah. No, I'm good. And he gets up, and the two of them go over to set Xavier down. They get him water. They get him napkins to clean up some of the vomit that's gotten all over him. Captain Philomena, right. We will be sealing these doors as per the manual. I don't actually know that that's in there, but Greggy, we're going to say it is. Greggy, seal off that door. And they're going to close. They're the two main doors into the dining hall, and then there's the kind of kitchen that's on one side, and they are locking the two main doors. The kitchen.
There is somebody in the kitchen. I saw somebody at the door. Lenore Charles, can you grab that individual and bring them over here, please?
On it.
Yes, and
Yeah.
before we lock the doors, there are 2 members of your guests that are not in this room at the moment. I believe,
Mr. Montero and Kabu.
yes.
Oh, okay. Greggy, do you wanna fetch them? I'll keep the lookout here if you wanna. Yes, Captain. And Greggy will exit and start to go look for the 2 of them. And then the captain turns to you all. All right, Greggy's on that to find the other 2. In the kitchens are Chef. Chef and as Lenore and Charles, of all people, go in to find Chef. You both are struck as you enter the kitchen. Chef has just kind of gone back and is washing dishes. Taller orc gentleman, older. And this figure strikes you both individually. Lenore, as someone you knew from perhaps a seedier past. And Charles, someone you knew in a case not too long ago, who you maybe let slide. As this person turns around, raises his arms up, and kind of looks at you both, shocked for a moment.
Do I remember his name?
I would say yes. His name is Marcus.
Marcus.
Marcus, I feel like we do like the Spider-Man pointing meme.
Yeah.
We
Do we
always
both
point
say
at
Marcus
each
at
other.
the same time?
Yes,
Like, how do you know?
absolutely. Marcus?
Lenore and Crow, good to see you both. This is, I gotta say, a little weird.
Marcus, I trusted you. I trust you. You know that's why I did right. Tell me right now you didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Can I attempt an insight on Marcus?
Does he know what's
wants to
happened yet?
Marcus, but, like,
Yes.
a part of him just would be so ashamed if this guy died because he trusted the wrong person. Oh, luckily that is a 12.
Oh,
A
no.
12.
Yeah, so you can rest easy.
I mean, he seems earnest to you. He has the same level tone as he always has, very even tempered, and like even keeled. Just seems like, yeah, I was in here doing my job.
All right. Do you, Marcus? Is this cruise equipped with room service?
I'm the only cook on. I mean, I could try to get that go. Do you want room service right now after dinner?
No, not
No,
right now.
that's okay.
Do you have a list of which room belongs to who? Because my good friend Heracles, he's a very smart guy, but this mystery might lie outside of the dining room. So while he has everyone rounded up, either Lenore or I could go through the rooms and see what we could find.
We do have, and he'll kind of point at like this cork board that's got like the schedules and like the different things, like all the kind of the work board. And on it you do see the kind of layout of the ship with penciled in the names of where everyone is staying. So you do have access. He kind of points over there. Yeah, all the rooms are filled but one. Yeah, it's all there for you. Is he really dead?
Unfortunately, he is.
You know, I thought when I got on this flight, I've been cooking for this airship for a little bit now. I saw that this was flying the detective con, and I thought this is going to be the safest flight I will ever probably take.
I think we
Yes,
thought
I
the
was-
same.
Yeah,
It's going to be all right.
well, it's good to see you both. And I do promise, and he looks you like both deep in the eyes, is like, I know I've got a record. I know you both know that. I was just in here cooking.
He's going to smile as much as he can, and he's going to look at Lenore. You're more sneaky than I am, aren't you? You're more of the infiltration type?
More or less.
Alright, well, I can give you 10 minutes to go poke around wherever you need to before your absence might be noticed.
That's probably about 5 more than I need, but I'll take them.
Well then, just give me the usual signal when you're ready to come back in, so there aren't two Lenores.
Oh, sure.
Alright.
Good luck, Lenore. And like, yeah, he'll give you a little head nod. All right. And so, Lenore, we will quick follow you. Where are you going to check out first in our map of this here?
Well, unfortunately, my insight check told me really nothing. I rolled a 10, so it was just like she was just as shocked about all of this as anyone else. It was just, yeah. So we're going in.
Charles,
Yeah.
are you one last thing?
Yes. These are just based off vibes alone. But I was gonna ask, assuming they gave Mr. Monstero, I'm gonna tell Lenore, check Mr. Monstero and Marble's rooms. Mr. Monstero has something he doesn't want to talk about. And Marble was passing around sweets, I believe. So even if
That's
she's
right.
unwilling or unknowing, she could have had a hand in Xavier's death.
Good to know. I'll keep that in mind.
And I'll create a major image of Lenore as we walk out.
Yes,
Nice, nice. All right, yeah,
Beautiful.
you walk into the dining room. Lenore, we'll follow you in just a second as you go and creep about. We're gonna pop back into the dining room. Lise, Dolores, Hera, what are the three of you up to in this moment?
Lisa's going to let Hera know, like, tell Hera to hold this space down, and she's going to go follow the first mate so that no one is moving alone in the space. So she's going to go collect people with them. Great.
Yeah, they are very glad for the company and kind of like, thank you. Let's go out. I'm gonna just check in with the other two who are in the hall or who are in the dining hall. Dolores and Hera.
Dolores, I have recruited Margaret. I've got my medical bag open, and I've begun examining the corpse.
Great.
And having Margaret make notes. And what I'm doing is
Yes.
basically checking. First of all, I'm trying to determine what kind of poison has killed the person, because poisons, the body will react in different ways depending if it's an organic, if it's manufactured.
Yeah, it's as you do you have like a detect poison, or are you using like just your medicine?
I'm just using my typical investigation.
Okay,
Doing
great.
my pathology thing.
Yeah, do your investigation check, and we'll get a kind of rundown autopsy diagnostic, I guess, without cutting open the body.
Only a 15.
A 15. With a 15, I mean.
By the way, the body will not decay, and it cannot be raised from the dead from this point forward for the next 10 days.
None of us want to see Karn back from the dead, right?
No.
Definitely not.
Oh no, the plan. It's foiled.
With that 15, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to make
Oh.
a joke about how I didn't take Raisin Dead.
Next time. There's always next time. Great. So with the 15, Dolores, as you're kind of like doing this check, it does seem like this was fast acting, or like relatively fast. Not immediate. It took some time to settle into the bloodstream and like run its course, and it seemed to basically give the effect of like not hallucinations per se, but essentially giving someone the effect of being like really drunk and kind of stumbling. They start to lose their motor abilities, and it looks a lot like drunkenness at a certain
So
point.
attack the central nervous system.
Yeah, and I think in least kind of breaking down the specifics of the poison, like yeah, it does seem to be a like common ingredient, like found in kitchen, found around home kind of poison that was used. So it's hard to get like specific reads on who would make this, because really anyone could make this. There's no specialty necessarily needed.
So it's not my girl. So my girlfriend probably would not have. This is beneath her. Okay.
Yeah, Yara the evil.
Yeah.
It's seemingly. But yeah, so that's kind of the take you're getting on this. Otherwise seems okay. Yeah, the body seems otherwise undamaged. Are there any other questions you have in this kind of autopsy that you might be looking for?
No more. It was just basically, the kind of the cause of death. The kind of general idea of what kind of poison it was. You were saying that how fast it was. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Were there any other wounds or anything that are immediately noticed, or?
As you're examining the body, yeah, no wounds. No wounds on the body. Just a lot of jewelry, like different kinds of, charms and symbols on them. But no visible wounds. All right.
Shiny chest.
And exactly, you take a glance at the shiny chest as you're doing this. Margaret is making very intense notes, and like whatever you're saying, she's got on paper. Like, and she might stop you occasionally for like certain anatomy things and like ask you to spell it out.
Oh yeah, Dolores will nothing back. She will not talk about adult romance stuff in front of a kid, but the whole death thing, you're never too young.
Yeah. And she is very appreciative. Great. Hera, what are you up to?
Well, you see Hera on top of the table yelling to everybody. Now, listen up. We are going to do this with method and using the little gray cells. Now, Captain, I implore you. I would like to I would like to interview everybody individually so we can determine where they were during the event. Now, I believe the staircase over there leads up to your cockpit, or whatever it is you call it in these nautical terms.
Captain Stair. Yeah.
Sure. Could I use that to interview the passengers privately, along with you? I should think, and maybe, and kind of glances about that. Just you.
Yeah. So that works for me. You hear in the crowd, why you though? Why do you get to be? And Kabu's kind of also starting to stand up on chair, or not Kabu, no, because Kabu's not there. So Mrs. Marble is like kind of, why are you the one to be the one
Because I
Interviewing
was the
everyone.
one who spoke up first.
What, we were
Dibs.
supposed to call dibs? Is that a thing that detectives do these days that I just don't know because I'm an amateur? Such an amateur? Heracles?
Yes, that is exactly correct. And you are also a suspect.
Excuse me, are you not a suspect? Everyone, is Heracles Peridot not a suspect in all of this either?
Oh, he's definitely a suspect.
Get his
And
ass.
yet, my methods will bring that to light as well, and the captain will be able to determine that. Captain, as the ranking member on the ship, your word is law until we reach the port. Now, would you prefer the assistance of a man of the mind, the great Hercules Peridot, or would you rather have somebody who cannot find her mounts?
Oh.
There's like an immediate like hush in the crowd as everyone
Even
like turns
Dolores
to
goes,
Mrs. Marbles.
Oh.
They're like looking back and forth between the two of you. Mrs. Marbles goes, I propose, Captain, that you can have the great Heracles Peridot up there interviewing everyone. But I also say that everyone who goes in that room also gets to interview you, sir.
I am, as they say, the open book, madame.
We'll see how open you really are. And she'll like take her cane and start to like walk over. She's ready to be first in line. And the captain's like, all right, I think this is settled. Detective Peridot, it's all yours.
Yes, Monsieur Jean, can I speak with you, please?
Yeah, of course. Excuse me. Sorry. And he kind of like looks at the dessert table a while and then kind of like turns and starts walking your way to head up into the booth. Mrs. Marbles like hawk-eyes you as you go. And you head up. And so as you get settled for your interrogations with each of these people, the captain as you get settled up there pulls out a bottle of like whiskey out from a compartment somewhere and is like,
No, not while we are investigating. Perhaps instead, since your hands need to be moving, you could be taking the notes.
Okay, here's the thing though. I'm not a note taker. I'm a
Do
captain.
you not know how to write?
No, I know how to write.
Then you are a
Detective
note taker.
Peridot.
Do you have this ability or not?
I think we found someone with less social skills than Dolores.
This is
Detective
not.
Peridot.
This is not to What does I'm sorry. I do not know the word. Demean your masculinity. It's it is simply easy. It is a writing the note.
I am a woman, Detective Peridot.
I legitimately don't remember you saying that. I am so sorry.
So on point.
Damn.
So on point.
So perfect. It's so perfect.
And
I
I'm also
apologize, madame.
the captain of this vessel.
Yes.
And a captain does not take notes, Detective Peridot. I will get you a note taker, and you will be good with that.
Do you have a pencil and a piece of paper?
Yes. She'll pull them out and put them in front of you.
The egos on. Yeah.
Yes, interesting you talking about egos. Let me get your lineup ready and start sending them in, Mr. Detective. And like Philomena totally like piss the fuck up. Swig of the whiskey as she goes out. And and sends in Margaret with her notepad. And she, I've been tasked to be your note taker, and she sits down prim and proper in the corner, ready to take the notes as John walks into the space. And we're gonna move from that to our hallway people. Lenore, you were sneaking out. What is the room that you're going to check out?
Let's go to, I'm completely blanking on his name again. The most suspicious one, the like Griff.
Migriff. Migriff Monstera.
Yeah, like there's a Griff in there. I should have taken a lot better notes. There are a lot of names to keep track of. He definitely seemed like he had the most to hide. So yeah, let's just go sneak over and take a little peeky peek.
Right. Great. You go over to Migriff's room. It is locked. Do you want to pick the lock?
Of course.
Roll me a thieves tool check.
All right, let's see. You see, I have expertise in this, so ideally, a plus 11 should help. But let's just see how. Let's see how this roll goes. Okay, non-natural 20.
Hey, nice. Yeah, you easily get in there. And you enter a dark room. Do you light it up, or do you continue looking through in the dark?
I mean, was anybody in the halls that I could see? Like everybody?
Not in this hall that you could see. No.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and light it up, and I'll use my cantrip dancing light so I can just dispel it at any time.
Great. Your balls of light float and light up the room. What you see is, a kind of messy space. There's like an open suitcase on the floor, or two open suitcases on the floor, one larger, one smaller. In the larger one, men's clothing, toiletries, etc. In the smaller one, little girls' clothes. Excuse me. You see, let's see. Yeah, clothes kind of strewn about. And otherwise it seems like a kind of regular room. Yeah, do you want to do an investigation check to dig into things further?
Yeah, she'll just kind of look around and think to herself, Heracles would exist. It's just true. I'm glad he didn't see this. Yeah, we'll go ahead and snoop around. We'll do an investigate. Natural 20 for 26. Let's go.
All right. Get it. As you are digging around in the space and stuff, you start to kind of go through the cases. You find in the little girl's case, there's this kind of hidden compartment in the suitcase, and you open it up, and you find inside, like, you would have seen her with her notebook. There are just like stacks of these notebooks of these different like cases and all the different notes that she has from all of these different detective works. And then there's like a diary too, along with it. Do you open it up and read it? Or do you leave it?
Yeah, I think she would. This is because kids are the most honest about everything. So if there is something going on, it's probably in there.
Great. As you start to peruse this diary, like in the kind of earlier entries, she talks about her mom and her dad and how her mom is like really encouraging her to learn these skills and pursue her detective craft, and that her mom seems to be the one who like makes more of the money. She talks about some of the arguments her parents have had, that her dad hasn't been making as much, mom's kind of the breadwinner, and she works in like a different field, and so Dad is like constantly trying to encourage her to not pursue detective work. Says that, you know, monster cases are running dry in a tough specialty, all that jazz. Then you get to a section, like as you start to move through, just like kind of glancing, you see like a chapter that's just like wet, or it's not wet currently, but it looks clearly like it got just absolutely damp, and it's like normal day stuff, and then Mom died at the end. And then as you continue to flip through, there's more talk about Dad's not dealing with it well. He tells us everything's fine, but there's mail coming in that he is ignoring. I dug in his desk and found out they're overdue bills. Then suddenly things seem to turn around. Suddenly he's getting more monsters. He is talking with this person more and more. At first she thinks, is he dating someone new? But they just seem to be working together. Dad says that monsters aren't always real monsters. And she's like contemplating what that means, trying to like dig into the depth of that, and him saying it one late night after he came home after a case. And then getting ready and excited for Detective Con and trying to keep her detective stuff hidden from her dad, who really wants her to stop all to do with it. And throughout, you see like Mrs. Marble's name come up, and you get the idea that Mrs. Marbles and her mom were more close. And that Mrs. Marbles has sometimes been a caretaker for Margaret when her dad's like off on cases and stuff like that. And that's Margaret's journal. With that natural 22, in finding that secret compartment, you wonder, kids sometimes pick things up from their parents. Does Dad have a secret compartment too? Dad does. Dad has a secret compartment in his suitcase. Inside, you find these different kinds of, you're not quite sure, it's like they're fragments of them, but blueprints, schematics, different shapes, sizes, round, large, small, intricate designs, but everything is written in a language. Do you know Goblin?
Oh, I don't know Goblin.
Do you know Aquan?
I know Primordial, which I'm not sure if we are going by the rules of it being housed under that or not.
I will say it's housed under that, but maybe it's like you're not fluent necessarily in that dialect per se, but you're able to pick up enough that you do see the name Flint come up in Aquan quite a bit. Or the word Flint, I guess, coming up over and over again. Like in the corners of the schematics. And within that 20, or I guess, roll me an investigation check specifically on these papers.
Okay. I'm gonna use the hero point, because that was not a good roll. Thank you, Janie, for the hero point.
Yeah!
Like, that was a 13. I was like, I could probably do better. Never mind, we'll take the 13.
All right. Yeah, I think this is clearly some kind of tech. It seems partial. Like, it's mostly in the like basic operations of the thing, and the kind of instructions you're coming across are like, in Aquan you can kind of see occasionally like on, off, reset, things like that. And the shapes that you're seeing are, I still think with that you can kind of make out certain shapes to look kind of like certain monsters you've seen.
I think she gets it now. Or it's like now, like, she was told by Hera that there was a growl below the deck. There are these somewhat mechanized monster-looking things on the blueprints. I think she's getting like a decent theory of what might be going on there. Okay, it's good to know. But yeah, she'll put everything back how it should look, including Margaret's secret compartment thing too, with extra care on hers. Yeah, very cool.
All right, Lenore, we're gonna hop from you as you continue your search to Lise with you and Greggy as you're heading out into the hall to find Migriff
Abu and Migriff.
Abu, yeah. So which hall are you going down first? Are you going starboard or port?
Starboard is the side with Monster and Kabu, right?
Yes, both their rooms are on that side.
Okay, then that would be the direction that Lise would go, but Lise is also following Greggy's lead here because Greggy is the one that knows the ship best.
Yeah. They start to go forward and are looking at each of the rooms, kind of knocking on each of them, just to see if anyone responds. They point out, this room here should be the Monstera's room, or Kabu's room first. There's no sound.
Which one is that? Is that the one on the end, or is that the one towards the middle from Monstera?
It's towards the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
Towards the middle. And then no response. And then goes and knocks on Monstera's room, which is the one right next door. No response. Greggy kind of looks to you for a second. I feel like certain circumstances have made maybe certain other rules or things that we have been abiding by change. But I'm also not. I feel like if they're not here, Mr. Monstera has my set of the keys. I have the captain's set of the keys, the master keys. Right now, Mr. Monstera has that copy of the keys because of certain storage goods that needed to be housed below that are being paid a considerable amount for. We could go check there, but please, the captain told us we shouldn't be doing that or taking people below. I just feel like because
there has been a murder.
There's been a murder.
There's been extenuating circumstances.
That's right.
Let's first, real quick. Do you have keys to these rooms?
I do. I do have the master set.
All right. We should check and make sure that they're just, the rooms are actually empty and they're not just ignoring.
Yeah, because what if they were hiding? Oh, what if they were dead? Yes.
There is also an empty room, correct?
Yes. I believe
we should check that as well.
Other side.
We should check that as well in a minute.
Yeah. Yes. So I'll open. Starts to open Kabu's room. Opens it up. Just completely there's the smell of wafting different kinds of potions and chemicals, some of which are kind of still on burners and things like that, but full lab setup in this space, all across the room, with not much else. There's one outfit laid out and then 2 bags of holding, but then the rest is lab stuff. Yes, please.
Since it has been less than 10 minutes in game time, I assume.
Hey, yes.
Do I detect poisons particularly the poison that was used.
You do detect poisons.
Mm-hmm.
They are not the poisons that was used.
Okay.
These are more complex.
Mhm.
Yeah, different kinds of, and also some of them are infused with this kind of like arcane element to
Okay.
them as well.
Artificer.
But yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's check the next one.
All
Well,
right.
I'll give the Roomba an actual like search over before, like making sure there's
Okay.
not like someone hiding in the closet or under the bed or any particular like space.
Yes. As you're kind of doing a quick look over, roll me an investigation or perception, whichever you feel is more apt.
Doop, boop, boop. Would be perception 16.
16. As you're kind of looking about, are you going to look into the bags of holding?
Yeah, just to check. I mean,
Okay.
shitty place to hide, but
Great. You get into one, and you start to like pull out some things. There's not much left in there. Some clothes and things like that as you're kind of rooting around. You start pulling out these papers. They're like overdue bills, loan statements, on different things, different like prospects sent out to people, letters, and some newspaper clippings of this person. There are a couple of them. Flint Nestor. This halfling tinkerer, half halfling, half goblin tinkerer, pretty famous. And if you are kind of in the tinkering zone, if you've bought specialty items, you know the name Flint Nestor. Very famous in these circles. Kind of almost a little Elon Musky, you know, like I'm a big into the tech business, like that's what I do, kind of person. And you just see a bunch of these with the eyes scratched out continually. And as you start to go into the second bag of holding, suddenly these jaws try to clench out as this bag of holding is actually a mimic.
Oh,
And
lovely.
that is where we will end tonight's session.
Holy
I'm so
Oh.
sorry I did this to you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So awesome.
What a
awesome.
moment.
Yes, we were running a little long. Appreciate everybody sticking around. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you to this amazing cast. It's so good to be back with you all and have these characters back in space and just riffing and having a good time with
Our
some
one
murder.
shots that are never just one shots.
I know. There's
Yeah.
never a one shot.
Yeah.
You're not going to see me complaining.
No, not at all.
Hey! Well, if you also like what we do, you can join our Discord at the button in the description. It's where we post our monthly casting calls, schedules, and where we just generally hang out and be giant nerds. We'd love for you to come hang out and roll some dice with us. Once more, I'd like to go around and give everyone a chance to tell the people who you are and where they can find you. So yeah, we'll go back in the same order we've done. Starting with that.
Alright, hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot, and tonight I played Lenore Valise, the Aragonasi rogue. You can find me on all the social medias at Sir Heckalot, including Twitch, Itch, Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the place. Just find me. It's the best place to figure out where I'm going to be in the TTRPG space next, because I tend to wander just a whole lot. But most notably, this coming week, on Monday, you can catch me over on Neon Lights Roleplay with Oathsworn, Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. If you like characters that are similar to Lenore, I feel like my Siren Bard Calliope is actually pretty similar. In some respects. She's a lot more outgoing about her feelings. But on Tuesday, you can catch me over on Enchanting Sorcery with Into the Old Barngreave. It is an Into the Woods inspired campaign, and it's a whole bunch of fun too. Yeah, it's a great time. And then on Thursday, you can catch me over on Dat Magic Juice's channel playing in All Hail the Queen, a Tyranny of Dragons campaign where I play a lovely little druid who is very different from all of my other characters. She's very sweet. Yeah, I think that's it for me for now, so just stay posted.
Amazing. Thank you.
Great. Hey, I'm Mir. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Mir Draws. I played Lise Angelus, the cleric, and the very bossy cleric. You can find me here on this channel quite a number of times coming up. I will be here on the 3rd and the 10th for Simbarum. I think that's how it's pronounced. I've only ever seen it spelled. And then on the 6th for Cult. And yeah, and whenever the second part of this is happening. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I am Matthew R. Dawson, aka Scruffy Wanderer on the tweets and the instas, and today I've been playing that detestable, bombastic, tiresome, egocentric little creep, Heracles Peridot.
Heracles, the table guy.
The table guy Peridot, absolutely. You can find me on my channel, which is Random Rhapsody, on Twitch and on YouTube and on podcasts, where I do a lot of 5e content, and we're kind of moving out to do some more stuff. It's a lot of fun. You can also catch me 2 times a month over on the Transverses, all on the table TTRPG content. And I believe I'm actually going to be here again on Lost Caravan on the 11th, doing I can't remember what it is now. Nope, Noir World. That's it, Noir World on the 11th. So come back and check me out for that. But yeah, that's me. Hi. Good night.
Is it me next?
That's you.
I'm Jason Fryer. I've been playing the absolutely delightful, warm, and cuddly necromancer, Dolores Applebottom. I will be here on 7/6 running as GM. Cult Divinity Lost.
Hey.
The last transmission.
Nice.
There are a bunch of the characters are looking for an urban legend, and then they find it. So
Awesome.
I hope to see you there.
Hello, I am Chell as always. I was playing Charles Crow. You can find me on Twitter at the Space Hamster. I also have the podcast Dice Fiends and Our Sparks Ignited, which is the Magic the Gathering actual play. This week we are releasing our episode of Thirsty Sword Lesbian set on Ixalan. So if you want some pirate stuff and you want some gay as hell stuff, check it out.
Nice.
I'll also be here on Tuesday playing in For the Honor, run by Hoop. So it is going to be fine.
Awesome. Thank you all. I am Caitlin. I was your GM for the evening. Thank you all so much for having me. You can find me at KKennyPlays here on Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc. I am a part of an ongoing Lost Caravan Avatar Legends campaign where I play a chronically ill waterbender. It's tons of fun. We just had it this Friday, and it'll be 2 more weeks. We'll have the next episode. And then I'll be back for the next part of this, and I'm absolutely jazzed to see where it goes. So thank you all so much. Amazing. Tonight, okay, we're going to be rating, I just got the name for this, Mad Bird Streams. So thank you all, and we will see you next time here at the Lost Caravan.
Thank
you.
All right, bye.
Nah.